for the quote.
I'm ready, Stevie. Ready?
No.
On 3, 2, 1, we'll do the same way.
Yeah,
okay. 3, 2, 1.
No, I'm not ready. Sorry, I got.
You can laugh
fright.
through it though.
I got stage
we
fright.
can laugh through it. 3, 2, 1. Magic is really very simple. All you've got to do is want something and then let yourself have it. Stevie and I love that quote so much.
It's the best quote.
I posted about it when I moved to Florida, and in front of the castle, I was like, I mean, moving isn't that simple, but it is kind of when you want to make something happen in life.
Moving isn't simple.
It's not
It is simple,
but the
more
choice,
simple than people think.
But it's more simple to change your life.
Yeah.
Stevie and I have this convo all the time because we're just kind of like, I feel like before I met you, I would be like, I can't just make. I mean, I did. I moved here, but like, I can't just make changes though without feeling.
I can't just do that.
Like, I felt so like, oh my gosh, what are people gonna think? And you're like, why wouldn't they just be like happy you're doing what you want to do? And I'm like, I was like, you're right. Pikachu. And then they were, and it's like, wait, what?
Pikachu.
Magic is literally just, it's simple. All you gotta do is want something and let yourself have it. Maybe work for it as well, but that's the key. It's like, wow.
You set your intention.
Here's the thing. What are we talking about today, if you can't tell?
Guys, this episode is a love letter to Halloweentown.
Halloweentown.
Today and every day, we are witches, but we're wearing our hats.
Yay. Stevie's got these. She's like, let me pull out my spare hat. Like,
no, I was like, I got a hat. I got a second hat.
I got a second hat,
You can
too.
wear it.
Ooh. Here's the thing. Now you got me hyped because as soon as you said Halloweentown, I was like, well, now I want to do Halloweentown too.
Now we're going to do the second one and the third one, but not the fourth one.
But honestly, yeah.
Anyways.
We do love Sarah Paxton though, but in different contexts. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
It's messy.
It's messy.
Think that she had no part in it, but
Probably, but also it's like that thing where like I don't understand the intricacies because like I'm not in that industry, but it's like I feel like
could you not be like, wait?
I know, but
I'm not blaming it on her. I don't know.
Maybe you just like don't question things either when it's kind of like a business thing where they need someone and you need a role and it's like, okay, we don't know that we don't. Someone tell us the truth. We're like, we know the truth. We don't know what's going on.
We don't know the truth.
Anyway, Halloweentown, a vibe, a feeling, the fabric of our life.
The fabric of our life. It is Halloween in our hearts, and also I start celebrating in August / all year round.
That's true. She does.
Hold on, I have to sneeze.
That's the good stuff.
No, that whisper was too intimate.
I
could hear it. I could hear it in my soul.
But she's got her Hocus Pocus mug, you know?
Today I have, wait for it. Is it gonna?
Focus. I'm focused. Look at it. Beautiful.
It also says time for a little Hocus Pocus.
Aww.
And when we cover Hocus Pocus,
which we will.
We will.
We will.
Also,
we gotta. Why? You gotta.
I'm very far from my mic. Okay, hello, I'm back.
But Halloweentown, like I think I was mentioning this when we were watching it. Like it's weird how not weird, but like it's so amazing how certain Disney Channel movies like that. Like obviously it spawned a franchise, obviously, but like it feels like something so like this. The production was obviously small, like in comparison to a lot of other like films that now Disney Channel makes. But it's like it's amazing how loyal the fan base is as we are, you know. But like it's incredible that it's
been a
held
part of our lives since like even though
felt
it came
like the
out when I
original
was
of just like
6. It's been a part of my life for my entire I don't remember a time before Halloweentown, and I'm just like, but also thinking of the first, I can't remember the first time I saw it, but I remember it was being on, like, I mean, I guess it came when I was like 4, I guess, but like I remember being like 5 or 6 when I saw it, and it was just like because we would just watch it all the time.
It was just on. It's like it was just so, it felt so Halloween-y, obviously, but it was just like so homey and like inviting. And it felt like a true
dynamic.
family-friendly, like, Halloween movie. Like,
Beautiful.
I mean, we'll talk about some scary parts in it. But by that, I mean one. But, like...
Calabar.
Yeah. But, like, I don't know. I feel like, in general, it always felt safe to have it on. And, like, I don't know. And, again, we'll talk about it a lot, obviously. But Debbie Reynolds, home. Like, she just felt like the grandma. Like, she...
And I tell you every time, she reminds me of my aunt. Like... My aunt
she showed me
Ida.
a photo and I was like,
she looks like her, but my aunt's Puerto Rican and she's like a Puerto Rican version.
But she
of her.
had
But
the
she
same
like her nose, her mouth, and I'm just like, and the way she talks.
There's just like this, like, I don't know. It's funny. Again, we talked about this too because we're like, for some reason when we were kids, and no, because it's not because like, oh, well, you're a kid, you wouldn't know that, but it's like it took us a while to learn or be told that she was Carrie Fisher's mom, and I just find that odd because like Star Wars was like in my blood, and I'm just like, why would
I didn't have I started having a connection with Star Wars when I was like 14.
But still, like, I just feel like Princess Leia, though, was something that, like, I just find it weird that nobody told me. I knew
who they were and
but
stuff,
it's weird that no one told me who would watch Star Wars, like, every other weekend. Like, why was, I guess...
Your parents? Yeah, because your parents, I feel like, would always tell... You always talk about how they'd be, like, tell you about pop culture even
like,
back
my
then.
mom, I could totally see her being like, you know that she's Princess Leia's mom, right? And I'm like... like I would have been like, wow, maybe
I'm
she
assuming,
did.
I'm assuming you would have remembered.
Maybe it was one of those random times where it just slipped through my. I was like, what did you say? Okay,
you're like
every other.
That is
me
Agatha.
Remembering Phoebe Cates is married.
Yeah, I still.
Oh my gosh, to what's his name?
Kevin Kline.
Thank you. I was like, Kevin Kline.
Phoebe Cates. Oh yeah.
I mean, he's many things, but I just wanted to bring up how he's Tulio on Rodell.
Tulio Miguel.
But he's married to Phoebe Cates, and I just think it's.
Are they still married?
They are. Their daughter was like on something. I feel like their daughter was like in a band, and like they were like, it's like.
Why is it that I feel like famous?
I know.
Like actors' children are always in bands. Is that just me?
Well, it's funny because
I guess of Maya Hawke.
I think their daughter was literally by Maya Hawke.
I'm like,
I think their daughter was bringing it up though because they were like, oh, because it's funny because again, I feel like people who are listening to this are like Phoebe Cates, Calvin Klein.
Yeah, I know Phoebe Cates because I've watched when I was little. I'm
dying at the Calvin Klein.
12.
I can't. I'm just thinking of Back to the Future. I did not mean to slip.
Calvin.
But
but I watched Drop Dead Fred. That's what I knew her from, and then also she was in Gremlins.
Well, right. Well, that's why when we covered Gremlins, we were losing our mind because we were on the roller coaster. We were like, on Slinky, and I'm over there like, well, you know how they were married, and you're like, what? And I'm like, I only know these random things from my mom just being like, did you know? Yeah, Meg Ryan and
Dennis Quaid. My mom would talk to me a lot about Phoebe Cates too.
Really? Sorry, I was about to say Jack Quaid's parents.
Yeah.
I assume everyone knows about Dennis Quaid being his dad, but I'm like, listen, Meg Ryan,
the queen of our heart.
Anastasia.
I know, the animated things that they've been in. We're like
Rotel Dorado. I can't.
No, but obviously so many Meg Ryan movies are just ingrained in my. When Harry Met Sally, top 5 favorites. Top 5. You've Got Mail, could quote the whole thing. Both of them.
Yeah.
I love Meg Ryan. I wish, I love.
I want her to have a renaissance. Like, honestly, where has she been? She's like living my life.
She's like, listen.
Jack Quaid's like, listen, I got it from here.
I got it.
Pass
the baton. Why isn't he in a rom-com?
He did do one. That's why I told you he like avoided watching his mom's
scene.
Like that one scene specifically. But then he's like, I gotta watch these, and he's like, he called his mom weeping, and he's like, you're amazing, and I'm like, because I mean I get it. It's kind of like Billie Lourd when she said that about she would avoid watching like Star Wars a lot, and then she would avoid. Because I mean I get it. Like I don't know if I would be that way if my parents were famous.
Because you and I have talked about this where we're like we want to like consume everything that our parents have ever like. Any photo, any video.
The concept of your parents being somebody before you is so interesting that I think I would want to be more in, like, I would want to know more.
You're like, I want to know you when I wasn't around, like when I couldn't know you. And even like how we keep like every little thing that our mom like will send us like a written.
Taylor Swift, she's like, I mean, that's more of a sad song about her grandma, but it's like keeping every grocery store receipt, every single note. It's true. Like, every scrap of you was taken from me. And it's like, no, I am keeping every single.
That's why I'm like, I would watch every single thing that my mom has ever.
Like, I don't know. I just think it's funny because, like, I get it. Maybe if, like, we had a different upbringing or if it feels like we were constantly shoved in our faces. And it's like, that's my parent. Like, especially, like, I get it with Billie Lourd, too, where she's like, my mom was, like, a sex symbol for some people. Which is, like, calm down.
I guess that's true.
But I'm like, and I get that. Although other kids will have the opposite where they're just kind of like this is, like, probably the total opposite. But, like, Rob Lowe's son, remember how he would just post, like, trolling videos of his dad when he had, like, all his, like, they wouldn't call it thirst photos, but like other heartthrob photos of his dad as like jokes, and he'd be like, oh my gosh. So I feel like he did the other way as opposed to, I don't know, it's funny, but
no judgment either way.
You and I are like that where we're like, what? I want to know you before you even like were who I know, because like obviously because
it's like watching a home movie of them, but like a cinematic one. So you're just like, do you see this? Are you seeing this?
Do you see this? They're literally a person here?
Yeah.
Which, again, I guess it isn't them because it is an acting thing.
Yeah. But you're just, like, able to see.
I remember somebody, who was it? It was either the daughter, I think, of Sean Penn and what's her name? Who plays Jenny in Forrest Gump? Oh, my gosh. And in everything. Oh my gosh!
I don't remember her name.
What's her name? It's Robin Wright Penn, because she used to be married to Sean Penn, but now she's Robin Wright.
You mean from?
Yes. she's also Jenny from
Princess Bride?
Yeah, sorry. She's in a million things. I just could not. I was literally like...
Wait, sorry. She was married to Rob.
Yeah, for a long time. They're divorced now.
Hold on. I'm having another one of these moments. 1 and 2. Her
name was Robin Wright Penn for a while.
But I've only seen Forrest Gump like maybe a handful of times, so I didn't even know that was her.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because when I watch Princess Bride, it's like, it's Jenny. And then she's also obviously in, what's it called, that show?
Buttercup to me.
What's the other show?
Yeah, she's in like now when she's older.
What's the one with about the one that used to have what's his name in it, but then they replaced it? So she
House of Cards.
Yes, thank you. And then, but she was married to him, and then like I don't know for how long, but they had a kid. I'm thinking it's their kid. Gosh, I'm gonna be annoyed if I look up later and it was a different. But basically, he at one point was married to Madonna. Okay, and there's like and there's a photo of their wedding, and their like his daughter from, I think it's with Robin Wright. I think. Gosh, it's going to annoy me if it's not their daughter. But either way, his daughter posted a photo of his wedding day with Madonna and him. And she was like, you know, it's wild that parents just have an entirely different life before you sometimes.
And Madonna.
Like, can you imagine? She literally, I like how
like your mom or my mom was married to like I don't know, Brad Pitt or something. And you're like, well, that was your wedding.
Well, is that not how some people feel? Like, if their parent had like a wild romance or anything, even just like tabloid history and you just can look at nowadays, especially you can look it up really well, and it's just like there's an entire timeline of your life here, and it's like, yeah, that was a part of my life. Now,
and they're like, I had no privacy.
Yeah, and then it's like, and now I have an entirely different life, which is like my current and future life, which is with you and your mother's, you know, whatever, which is adorable. Me, I'm this hypothetical person.
I don't know why I'm thinking about Drew Barrymore. I'm like,
this hypothetical person.
I love her.
How sweet. It's like, what? But we'll place it on Drew or anybody, because I'm thinking of just like somebody who's had like this insane. It's like, oh well, but I don't know. It's just interesting because like, yeah, we got off real.
Anyway,
I love the
I mean, it's relevant. Okay?
It's relevant.
So anyway, the grandma.
I can't.
Grandma Aggie.
I can't.
Debbie Reynolds.
We love her, and she's just a classic, and also just. I love that family. I love them. Anyway.
But we were talking about how when we were just rewatching it, we're like, you were like, I need the prequel of like how Marnie's mom and dad met and like, why wouldn't, and I'm like, they could have done it then and maybe it would have been like more relevant, but I feel like they could put it on Disney Plus and us and we, I mean, who grew up with
they're
it.
Clearly
a lot
trying
of
to
people
market
to
people who are from the 90s and grew up in the 2000s, and they're clearly making so many things that are either reboots, sequels, whatever. They could easily do, and again, they wouldn't have to get all the cast back because it wouldn't include the cast. I'm not saying I wouldn't want that. I'm just saying like they could easily make it with people who are up and coming. They could do. There's a lot of things you could sell with it that it would still be pulling other generations.
Do you think that they would do a sequel with like Marnie and stuff?
I wonder if like that's what they're trying to gear up towards. Like if they're trying to be like she. First off, she and what's his name? Daniel.
Cal, the person who played Cal.
Yes. Wait, what's his last name?
Hold on.
We're going to find out.
Oh, Kuntz? K-O-U-N-T-Z.
It's got an N in there?
It ends with
Daniel.
Oh, I'm like, it ends with a Z. You said N.
I'm like
yes, it ends with a
Z. It's got an N?
Yeah.
Daniel Kuntz. Okay. Well, either way, that love story is the cute, which is so wild to me because I think it's funny because like, I guess I didn't really think about like shipping them together when I was a kid. Like I just by the
even
end
though they're literally
I
like
feel like maybe because by the end of it I was just like, well,
I mean not love interest.
Nowadays
like,
I'd be like enemies to or lovers to enemies to enemy like to lovers. Yeah, but back then I feel like I
lovers
was
enemies to lovers is a beautiful.
No, the best is when it's like friends to lovers to enemies to like
to enemies then enemies again then enemies.
Bro, I can list off a million different avenues. But I feel like back then it was like established in my head. I'm like, well. It wasn't going to work out. But I'm like, it's funny though, because I'm like, well, if this had happened, like, well, one, the gap between, it's a beautiful timeline. Red string of fate, dare I say, that they got back together in recent years. Or not back together, they like connected.
They're engaged. For those who don't know.
So precious. We love y'all.
Yeah.
Everything you produce, thank you, keep it coming. But see, that's what I'm saying, that all this recent stuff in the news, like, I feel like it's gearing up more commotion for how much people love Halloweentown, and I just think they could do a sequel back into it and like have it be about her kids or like continuing the Cromwell line. Is she married to Luke? One of my first crushes
Cal
on screen,
somehow
and that's saying something because I have many on-screen crushes when I was like literally a baby. Like I swear I would see something and be like,
one of mine was Larry from Don't Look Under the Bed, and also when he was in,
I can't even say these
when
things.
he was in Even Stevens too, but his name was Larry in that too.
I know. I'm telling you, it was. No, Larry was the other guy, the one that didn't take a shot. No, that was Liz McGuire. His name was Larry.
I forgot about him.
I know. Wait, his name.
I think his name was Larry in both, or maybe as a kid. That's what I
also came out in Even Stevens. Or
no, he did. That's what I'm saying. It was the same guy.
No, wait, no. I'm talking about the
guy who played Larry in
Lizzie McGuire.
Oh, okay.
And Lizzie McGuire, the guy that played Larry, I think he reminded me of the guy that was like the nerd, the like dork. That sounds so mean, but you know how they labeled them as them in these shows. The one that was in Even Stevens that was like the nerdy geek guy. I remember I thought
you're like, that sounds mean. Literally, his name is like Nerdy Kyle or something.
I wish I could remember his name. It was so funny. You remember that episode of Even Stevens where they like turned their house into a breakfast inn or whatever?
Why was that show?
So funny. Their parents.
So good.
They did it on Boy Meets World once too, where they turned Mr. Feeney's house into that. But like on Even Stevens, their parents were away for the weekend and they're like, we're making money and we're gonna rent this out like as if it's a, what do you call it,
bed and breakfast.
Thank you. And like they literally did that, and that's why I always. You were talking about this the other day about orange juice, and I always think about it because it's that same. It was a while back, but it was like that
soup and orange juice.
No, but that guy. Oh my gosh, I wish I. Now I'm gonna look up his name. But the one who plays the geek in Even Stevens. You watch. I'm gonna tell you what his name is, and you're gonna be like, no one cares.
Now I'm thinking of like the one from Boy Meets World. His name like not Finkel. Oh, what is it?
Minkus.
Finkel.
Yeah, I was like,
who's Finkel? I think Finkel's from Ace Ventura.
Wait, hold on. I gotta find this guy's name. Look, this guy.
Is that his name?
You'll see him. That guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not from Even Stevens. I mean, that's from Even Stevens. That's not from.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying like Minkus, and you're like, yeah, him.
No, that's not Minkus.
This guy is. Why won't it give me? Oh, Tom was his name. Which what? I would have never guessed if you had asked me. This guy. Let's see if I can show. It won't. They don't want me to win, Stevie. They don't want me to win.
What was I gonna say?
This is such a bad photo of him. The one that I was gonna show you, that I showed you, was better. But this is a.
No, that's the same guy.
But it's not the same photo.
Oh no,
this
it's
one's
not
just
the same
like
photo.
so. He's like anyway, and it's like blurry.
But he's adorable.
Love him. But in that episode, they like are doing the bed and breakfast, right? And like he's one of the staff that they hire for it, and he's like making the orange juice, and he comes back and he's like, Mrs. Duran, Mrs. blah 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 don't want this because it has pulp in it or something. And he's like, well, I'll just take the pulp out. And he like I feel like he takes the hands, like he scoops the pulp out. And he's like, no pulp, or isn't it?
That's like in Casper when he puts the orange juice through his hands.
Why is it always like this? Why
but he's not a hand. I mean, he's a
why
ghost.
Must we
so
touch?
It's like,
it better have been the Even Stevens episode and not the Boy Meets World one. It was him. He was like, this pulp. Me, I'm like, let's just watch those episodes.
It was him.
I want to watch some pocket episodes about bed and breakfasts and like from Disney Channel. Anyway, I think of him when I think of pulp now. And people are like, no pulp.
I'm going to tell you about this movie.
Tell me about it.
One thing, it's adapted from The Nightmare Before Christmas. What is that? That's what it says.
Because it's literally, I guess because Nightmare Before Christmas literally had a Halloweentown in it. Like, that's where he lives, isn't it?
Yeah. No, that's not where he... Oh, that is where he...
Right? I know.
No, I was thinking
of
A Christmas Carol.
Yeah, me too. Because I was like, wait a minute.
That doesn't... I don't...
But nothing about it except for the fact that it's a town of Halloween.
I feel like the internet is lying to me.
I don't know about that. Not about that.
Yeah.
I mean, not about
that, but about that. Anyway... I said I was going to tell you about this movie, but that's really all I had to say. Well, we'll go through the ratings.
What were we also saying about... what was it that we were saying about... It wasn't about Princess Leia.
Well, what I wanted to say was that you were saying you want a prequel
to this movie.
Yes. But, like, I was thinking that it would be... Because, okay... It would be cool if Billie Lourd played like a young Aggie. Because it would be
like a generational thing where it's like half the movie shows her when she's young.
You're like, we could do that.
I think we could produce this.
But also I'm thinking because her grandma is like in this movie, right? They live to be very old. Like she's not technically like 70 or however old she is. So I feel like if Billie played her, she could be like, yeah, I'm whatever age I like, you know what I mean? Like, when do they start looking older than their...
I see what you're saying.
You know, like, what do their children ever... I mean, I think they should have...
They
would age her up.
They could do like a legit backstory of her. They could do 2 prequels.
Yeah, they could do one where it's hers.
And then one of Gwen. Because that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
When we were watching it, I remember being like, I couldn't remember if we learned about their dad as much.
You're right.
And you were like, oh, they do mention him or something. And then they mention him a lot. Which now that I've watched again, I'm like, oh yeah, they do.
There's a photo of him.
a photo. They mentioned his name, William. You were like, oh, is their last name just Cromwell? And it's like, no, it's Piper because that's their dad's last name, I assume. And then
not Piper from Charmed.
Piper Hollowell. But
close.
I think, and then at the end, like they're talking about it, like again, her choosing a mortal or like a human to like fall in love with.
Why is the word mortal so cool? Right. Mortal. mortal.
Although it's funny because they don't consider the witches human. They're like, that's a human, and then this is a witch. And it's like, I feel like in other things they'll be like, well, you are a human, but you're just immortal, or you're just, a special. But I don't know. But I'm
trying to think of one because I feel like they'll be like, that's a human, this is a witch, even though technically they could be like a sect of human is witches, because you're
Harry
human.
Potter, they'll do that. Like they're all humans, but someone's like,
you can't do magic.
But in this one, they kind of say mortal is like they'll be like, she fell in love with a human,
Oh,
but
yeah,
like that's why I'm like,
true.
I kind of want to know more about her, because we were saying, so the whole premise is kind of
I don't know why that creeps me out.
What?
I don't know why she fell in love with a human, and thinking about how like I just got like a weird feeling, and I don't know what that was. Where it like creeped me out thinking about like humanity and humans as an other, and like they're like
she's not human, and
they're like, human, and you're like, but you look like us.
I know. I don't even know what said that. I was like,
I gotta be clear. I had no idea what that feeling was, but I got the heebie-jeebies. Like, I don't know what that.
It's weird though, because I'm like, when Calabar said that like so disgustingly, I'm like, okay, and he's like, you half human. And it's like, what? Like, okay,
maybe I'm just having a weird moment. Maybe I got overtaken and my witchiness is like,
you're like, humans?
Gross.
Excuse me? But like, we were saying it's like, because the whole premise of this movie is that it's like the whole situation where it kind of not skips a generation. It doesn't. They all have powers. But like clearly Grandma Aggie, Debbie Reynolds. Yeah, like I guess we could go through the cast real quick. But like, you know what? Hold on. Let's go.
If you haven't seen this movie, what are you doing?
What are you doing? But as I talk about them, I'll say.
But we'll tell you.
Yeah. So Debbie Reynolds is Aggie Cromwell, the grandma, right? And like she's clearly like you said during the movie, you were like, she's like a big part of this Halloweentown community. Like they all know her. The Cromwells are like this very powerful line.
Yeah, they talk about it in the other movies too, where they're just like, the Cromwell magic is a big thing, and they bet it at one point, and it's very much like,
I need to rewatch that.
This by accident.
Forgot about that.
But yeah, it's just like a big thing. Their magic specifically is very powerful, like you said. So,
and it's like she's like well known, but there's this whole missing link of like, so now her daughter Gwen Cromwell Piper is played by Judith Hoag. Love her as well. She lives in the mortal world, now in the human world, and it's because she left Halloweentown at one point. So she left, but they also allude to it when they're talking about their dad. They're like, oh, mom and dad met on Halloween, which like you said, it's probably because she was visiting, met him on one by chance.
Because in this world, you can only cross over from Halloweentown into the mortal world when the veil is the thinnest, which is on Halloween.
Which is so cute, and if you think about that, it's such a cute setup for a movie. It's on Halloween.
What would you name it?
I don't know, but they would meet.
Halloweentown, meet cute.
Halloween meet, Halloween time.
Halloween. Would name it like an app.
Halloween time. Literally imagine a dating app.
That's what I'm saying. A dating app, like
that's so funny.
Halloweentown, meet cute.
But like they met, and then I guess like she literally was like, I gotta go back. Like what? Did she wait a year to say? How did this happen? I want to know everything. I want to know.
Yeah, did she take it? Like because in Halloweentown the time passes. So you can have 1 year in the mortal world, and in Halloweentown it feels like it's like 3 years or whatever. They say what it is exactly. So but for him it was just a year. So she probably was like. Yeah, but how did they...
I want to know more.
I need to know. Did they fall in love in that 24 hours?
Was something keeping them apart?
Or did she bring him
I want to know, was there resistance to not... Because they don't allude to that specifically, because clearly Grandma Aggie is like, you need to teach the children magic, and like you should like stop like basically turning away from your powers, because it's like she's basically trying to teach them to just not be... Like she doesn't want to tell them. She's not
telling them that they're witches.
Like you said, not even giving them a choice if they want to learn
and once they turn 13, if they don't start practicing like actively, then they lose their powers forever.
I know why it's always 13, but also how dare. But but also it sounds like we were like, was there not something more, not traumatic, but something that more so that made her be like, I'm never going back to Halloweentown?
Yeah, like
was it that she couldn't be with the husband? Because it didn't seem like her mom, like it didn't seem like Aggie was like, well, like she didn't seem like, obviously he died, like she didn't say anything mean about him, but I feel like she didn't also make it seem like you left because you had to get married, and like
because
there was nothing
she was
about
saying that she wants them, and in the second one I think they talk more about it though, that they were like, we want a lot of the theming between 1 through 3 is like integrating the worlds again, because they used to be one world, and then
that's right,
the humans were like kind of outcasting the people in Halloweentown, so they were like, okay, well we'll just make our own world, and you can't come here and we can't go there except on this one day for a reason. So it's man-made, like the situation. So
I want to know though, like, was there resistance? Like, was it kind of like, well, you can't really be with him because he is a human or mortal, whatever.
Well, I don't think. Well, I guess I brought that up too because like I feel like Aggie wants the integration again,
right.
So I feel like she wouldn't
have been against it. And also, like, so why did she flee the way? Like, it feels like she literally is like someone leaving their hometown because they are so ready to be away from it. But it also feels like
she doesn't say like, you guys never accepted him. Like, she literally was just that's
never brought up, so it's not like it's that. It just seems like she's like, I have an option. She just left it behind. She's like, I have an option to basically just always live in the human world, so why wouldn't I? And it's like not just the town, it's her whole identity. Like, her witch, like, she just stops being, like they said, she seemed like she was like the most
she's like, you're person. A witch and you don't. And that's why Aggie is like, okay, I guess our line is going to end now with you because, which I feel like, I don't know, it's hard because she's a parent and she is probably like, I want to raise my children this way. I want to raise them like their father and I want them to be like the way their father is and whatever it is. But then I feel like it is kind of selfish. And again, I don't know. I feel like it's selfish because I'm like, you don't give, one, she doesn't give her children an option. But two, the whole line is going to end after her. And she doesn't even get, like, if she had a sibling or something.
Like, if they want, like, you need to give them the choice. If they don't want to, then that's okay. But like you said.
Yeah. Like, if they don't want to and it ends.
Like, that's a different case
then
scenario.
It's,
But it's like we were saying, like, it would be more, I would understand more if, like, we don't have to have something like traumatic have happened to her, but it would be something that she's afraid to be like, I don't want them to be a part of that world for a reason. Like, and again, they don't allude to anything with the dad being that way. But she, like, I feel like if there was something about, like, and I guess I'm glad the story isn't that way because I don't like and it doesn't make sense if they didn't like them being together. But if it were to be that they didn't accept her husband, it'd make sense if she's like, it was scary what they were like.
I think she literally just said, I wanted them to be like their father. Yeah. Their father was human and they're going to be human too. And that's like what she says.
It's so interesting.
Even though they display, because they start getting their powers at a certain age, we don't know, but
like she acts like a protective, afraid parent, not someone who. But again, I don't know.
Maybe she's afraid because they're gonna. I mean, I'm assuming she's afraid because she's like, if they know, they're gonna choose that, and I can't change it's true. That.
And also, it's like maybe she's just so used to. She liked her life in the human world, which, like, why not? You know what? You can have a good life here. And it's like, I don't know.
You can have
the world is much wider, it seems, than Halloweentown. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's only one town.
That's true. I don't know. How big is the magic?
I mean, it would be cool if you just could leave and be like, there's a whole other world with like a million things to do. Like, yeah, I'm going to leave.
Yeah, it can't just be one town. I mean, I know it's obviously Halloweentown, but like there has to be a whole magical realm out there.
I'm assuming? I don't know. But see, that's the thing where I'm like, I just wonder then what, I wonder. I need a prequel. Two prequels, like please. Please. But, okay, so the kids, as we know, we've mentioned her already, Kimberly J. Brown, Marnie Piper. Joey Zimmerman is Dylan Piper. And then...
Who you say the whole time is a contrarian. No matter what they want, he's doing the opposite.
It's like that thing where what was it that he did where you're like, now he's trusting? Yeah, so it's like, he just has to be contrary.
Benny, the taxi driver, who is a literal skeleton. And they get in the cab, and they're like all like happy about it. And he's like staring at him. And he's like, this is weird. He doesn't have eyes. And she's like, stop staring. And then later...
I'm distrustful of Benny, too. Anyone who goes a bit rogue in this movie, and when I rewatch I can't look at them the same.
Their fault. The bad thing was in them.
Harriet, I see you.
Harriet, first of all, went from being a very nice lady to being a half cat person.
She's like, I tried giving this to the shelter.
And then
what shelter?
She turned into a mannequin.
That's nice. That's
what
nice.
Shelter?
That's sweet, Harriet.
I know, she was literally at a shelter trying to give him muffins, and you were like, how dare.
I know. I'm like, I don't trust this woman.
What kind of muffins? Poison?
No. Listen. Poison apple? No, but Dylan will literally just be like, I don't trust him, and then the next time, we gotta get the help from this skeleton guy. Sir, he just has to be contrary.
When Sophie's like, the bad thing's in him, and he's like, what? What do you mean? Blah, blah, blah. Dylan,
he's used as
here's
a device.
My thing. Listen, we've talked about this before, or I was telling you earlier, is that Dylan does not have... I feel like he doesn't have any character development. Like, he develops in the movies, and then the next movie he goes back to being the same. And then at the end he develops again, and then he goes back to being the same.
When they do that, I'm like, with
why do you always make him be the same way at the beginning, just so that he can be like...
You know how they do that in TV shows a lot of the times? Yeah. Like, there'll be a character where you're kind of like, why does this character not...
They had a moment where they, like, soften, and then they go back to being the bully.
I feel like they do that a lot. I was watching a YouTube video on that, actually, about, like, Vampire Diaries. Like, how... Do
I have to start watching that? Because I feel it's been coming up a lot lately.
But Ian Somerhalder's character... It's like it's like he's a great, like he was clearly a breakout character of like being really popular in the show, but he would like learn things, but because he's so popular when he's at his most like, he kind of has to like revert back to not having it all together, like having to learn, because it's like, to be fair, like clearly when characters are certain ways, like you have to either introduce somebody else to fulfill that, which like they do, but it's like sometimes you're just kind of like, but I like Damon most when he's doing this, and it's like it's true, but I feel like there's other ways to do that without being like, and they're gonna unlearn this for no reason. Like they've already learned how to be immature.
I think most of the time he's just like, I'm gonna be the
chaotic.
I'm a brother. Yeah. He's like, I'm your brother, so I'm going to make things difficult for you because I'm your brother, and not because I'm really like whatever. So
yeah, I do like the take that by the end of the series too, it really does show that it's like very much a brother show. Like it's not
a brother show.
Like it's about them as two brothers, like as opposed to Elena.
I thought you were talking about. I'm talking about Dylan. I'm not talking
about.
Oh,
I thought we were talking about Damon still. No, I was wondering how you knew more about it all of a sudden. You're like, well, I think. Wait,
I'm like, brother.
Now I've got to rewatch all of that back. That is so funny.
I literally
was over here like,
is this fucking play?
Yeah. I literally was like, yeah, I guess so, but that is so
literally
funny.
Over here talking about brothers.
Okay,
like,
but
siblings?
Everything we said literally is funny because it applies to both. I was like, yeah,
I like by the end of the series. I was like,
truly, you're like, and I'm like, I thought she said she didn't know as much about this.
Okay,
no, yeah,
I've been
brothers.
Secretly
what?
A closeted Vampire Diaries.
But it's that kind of thing where, like, I don't know. There's just other ways to do it with characters like both him and Dylan can be like, why do they have to just forget what they learned? Why can't it be something else that's introduced that makes them have to like revert?
He just wants to be the bratty younger brother because that's just his role.
Well,
and it's okay.
In this movie, they use him as the contrary piece and everything, because it's like when something's going a certain way, he has to be the one that's like, that's not. Blah,
He's
blah,
like,
blah.
I'm the logical one.
It's weird though, because half the time, sometimes it's not logical stuff. It's him just having to go against it, which it would have worked better if he just continuously throughout the whole series is just logical.
And logistical.
Right, but what he learns is to be like more in tune with his
emotions.
Yeah, and more with like his powers.
Let's rewrite this.
I mean, we already are. But like, it's okay.
This movie's perfect, and we're like, let me tell you
another thing to bring up about Dylan, though, is that we will never get over his like. This isn't about Halloweentown 2, obviously, but the way he grows up from this movie.
From the first movie to the second movie, I think it's supposed to be the next year.
Yeah, Marty's supposed to be 13 here, and he's supposed to be 12.
And it's 2 years. It's 3 years later IRL.
Okay.
But he goes from being 12 to being like 17.
Yeah, well, to 13, right?
But technically he's 13, and he's like, hello, my name is Dylan.
And he literally is not like just like taller. He's like filled out. His face has turned into a more.
It's not like a lanky 13-year-old.
He like hit puberty and became like it literally no. I know that's how puberty sometimes works. It hits
Hold on,
like
I looked up. He was actually 15 in the second one, but he's supposed to be 13. Like IRL, he was 15 because I did hit the math.
What?
I did the math.
I thought this boy was like, he could have, maybe in my head he seemed so much older because I was like,
because he was born in 1986.
We were like 8 watching it and we're like, wow, that's a man, and it's like he's 15.
He's 15.
But like he looked old.
No, but I rewatched it and he still looked older than 15.
Was he wearing a vest in most
I mean, the thing is too, he wears a lot of. It's not like he looks like an old man or anything.
No,
but he looks like he's like 17.
But he looks like he could be 20. Like a 20-year-old playing an 18, 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Just saying. The one thing I was like, you brought up Sophie, and I'm like, yeah, and she's played by Emily Roski.
I saw her on TikTok.
So
she popped up on TikTok like last year or something.
I think I do.
And she was like, "Hey guys, it's me. I'm Sophie." And I think she does martial arts. No.
Oh wait, I feel like I see her picture here is her for like posing as. Like,
yeah, she does.
Thing. That's cute.
Something.
I like it.
Like that. Picasso.
But remember, you're like they call her Sophie.
Third degree black belt Sophie in Halloweentown.
Well, excuse us.
That's her. She's a mom.
Again, she has what? How old is she? Out of curiosity.
I don't know, but her thing says, "Mommy, happy to share my blended family. What I'm up to now. Third degree black belt and Sophie in Halloweentown."
And Sophie in Halloweentown. So cute.
And then her website is spiritofhalloweentown.com.
Okay, You see.
Anyway, I'm reading that from official Emily Roski. So if that's not her Instagram, I'm sorry for spreading lies.
But see, she's the thing too. She did a really good job of embodying the like ominous youngest child that you're just like, what are you saying? Like literally over there, she's by the window. Somebody's coming.
She's like, somebody's coming, but she doesn't say it in a creepy. I mean, meaning she doesn't say it.
If I walked by that child,
she says it in like a happy, like, oh, somebody's coming.
Well, in the first one though, it feels like she's doing like a somebody's coming. And then later on, when she's like under her breath saying the spell, oh, I remember I turned it into a song, child. Like, I mean, helpful.
Like what I was
helpful
saying.
to be sure. But what?
Well, I'm like, Sophie is over here carrying the Cromwell magic.
She really
and nobody listens to her. Like I was
She's
telling you.
She's the most powerful.
She is, because probably, I mean, she hasn't been stunted because she's like, you know.
Marnie's trying so hard. It's not
because
fair.
I feel like when they first, I'm assuming when they first start having their powers, it's like that thing where they're like untapped, or not untapped, but they're what is it called?
I wonder when it,
not unkept. But kind of like raw, so it's just like she's whenever she feels something, it's like her magic takes hold. Like, where it's like she wants the cookie, it starts floating towards her.
Yeah,
like,
because
she
there's
just
a part
feels
that's a lock, and it's got a frog on it.
Again, magic is wanting something and letting yourself have it.
She's like, I just wanted the lock to be a frog.
And it's a frog. She wants a cookie, it starts.
But I like how she literally, and I like how she literally just pushes the door, and she's like, I just pushed it.
I push it.
And I wished for it to be like, literally.
Well, what I was saying to you is that, like, again, it's that youngest child thing where it's like, nobody listens to the youngest child. And
she's over there solving all the world's mysteries.
And because she's the youngest, so everybody ignores her. And I was like, I'm telling you this from experience because I'm the oldest.
And
I never listened to my brother.
I listened to a thing my brother said ever.
I never
That's so
did.
Funny.
But anyway.
But it's funny because they do really do the, like, youngest, middle child, oldest child dynamics really well. Mm-hmm. Again, Dylan is the perfect middle child. And Marnie is like an eldest child. Like, she really is very much like, listen. But, like, also she's very protective of her siblings too, even like both of them. Like,
but let's talk about Mary. Let's talk about Kimberly J. Brown.
Love.
She was one of the, like, sweethearts of Disney Channel.
First off, Quince.
I'm going to her discography. I mean,
discography. She's releasing an album 2023.
I loved her.
She was like so. I just remember because it was Quince and that would simultaneously be the Friday DCOM that would just premiere.
Also,
and I'd be like, anyway.
She was randomly in Bringing the House Down with Queen Latifah. Do you remember that movie?
What? I never saw it.
I had it on DVD, and it also had
That's so random. I love that.
I know. You know how you randomly have DVDs, and you're like, "What is this?" But
sometimes you would like win DVDs, or like there'd be it'd come in a set, and you're like, "Why do I own this? What's happening?
Why do I have this?" But okay.
I love her.
Okay, Bringing the House Down was before Halloweentown High.
Interesting.
And she's in A Bug's Life. She's just one of the ants.
Is she the youngest aunt? Is she the princess?
No, Dot was Hayden Panettiere.
That's who that was. I knew it. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm like, I knew that there was somebody that I knew was that. Yeah. Wow.
And she was a vampire princess in 1997.
You see,
anyway.
Love her. Love. And I must confess, I still believe.
I can't.
Okay. So, but speaking of, wait. We got off on a tangent because we're talking about crushes. But why we were talking about it is because of Luke, played by Philip.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, that's why we brought up who our on-screen crushes were. Remember how we said
you
and
were
then
talking
you said
about
that
it.
You were like, my first one was Larry.
Larry.
That's how
I didn't say anything.
Yeah,
you're like
I have no skin in the game. Larry. She started the entire down the rabbit hole.
I don't know if he was my first one. Eliza Dushku.
So many. I can't even claim that Luke was one of my first because literally. Anyway.
I'm going to make a timeline one day because I don't know who my first was because it depends on when I saw Bring It On. Beanie? Girl. She's like, I'll tell you who.
I'll tell you. I know the secret.
I haven't heard that
Luke, I haven't heard that name. And Luke, though, I literally remember, again, played by Philip Van Dyke. I was literally I saw this redhead kid and I was literally 7 or whatever. And I was like, he is so cute. I thought he was so precious and he's adorable. And literally when he's in Halloweentown too, I was thrilled, which we have a lot to talk about it because again, as his role in this movie, obviously is he's working for Calabar. But you don't really quite know that until it's revealed slowly throughout the story. But he's the town bully kind of.
According to I think it's Benny, the local punk, which I was like,
what
I want that.
Incredible label.
I want that to be on my gravestone.
Put it on my forehead.
The local punk.
Put on a shirt. Local punk. I can't.
Yeah, I didn't have to go as far as gravestone. I could just put it on a shirt.
Wait, no, but you
put
should.
it on my grave.
You should though, actually.
I'm going to quote Benny later this and be like, later this month.
Okay, anyway, listen, though. I remember, so he's a goblin, though, and he made a deal.
Is he actually, or are we just saying
I think it is, because I feel
because we kept saying it, and I'm like,
it's not a gremlin.
No.
It's not a...
Yeah, I think he is a goblin.
I think it's goblin. Because, so he makes a deal with Calabar because he wants to have... Because Benny's he got a nose job and thinks he's, everything now.
I'm just double checking.
Which is so funny because, again, without context, you're like, this like 15-year-old got a nose job. Like, what? But he was like a very, like, his nose looked like a goblin's. Like, he at the makeup in this film, we'll put a pin in it. Put a pin because I got to finish my Luke
photo of Luke if you're watching on the YouTubes.
Luke in the wait. Luke in the first movie?
In the first one.
And then then show his goblin form, and then now look at the second one, sneak peek of him in human apart, Trappa.
I love him in the second one, and he is a goblin.
He's such a good guy in the second one.
Like, let's work through this. Like, and I know you haven't seen the second one in a while, but the way he works through it with her, and he's just there.
Wait,
the whole time.
No, I've seen that one more recently.
Okay.
Yeah. Because like I love this. We're going to cover the second one. It's already going to happen.
Yeah.
But like, I love the second one because like, it's just so, I feel like they really stepped up the storytelling in it. Like, that's why I loved, I think I like it more. I would watch it more because I just felt like it was more dynamic. But I love his
It's
role.
like that thing with like Back to the Future, where Back to the Future 2 is kind of Back to the Future 1.
Oh, that's more like the,
but like a more dynamic version.
There's
a lot more. Love the first one. I don't.
Again, love this first one
love
too.
Them
it's
both.
Like, but like Luke was so good. Like that's character development that you stick with. Too.
You know what that is?
You know what that is? That's character development because he starts off. He's being manipulated, obviously, by Calabar.
Yeah.
And he wants to, which Stevie and I are still fuzzy on why. When clearly it seems like every type of creature, anything is very much accepted in Halloweentown. And
like,
it's
that's the
interesting.
point. That's why they're there.
Point.
They're like, we're here to be.
And it's interesting that he's like, I want to be beautiful, but if you're a goblin, like,
he did say something about wanting a date with her, but he made that bet
a long time ago.
There.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Or however long.
He was like, well, I wanted to. Luna, are you good?
Was there another witch? Was there another?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like he was like,
interesting.
I did this, and I thought, you know, you would never want to date me if I looked like a goblin. And I'm like...
Which, again, they make him look like he's an 80-year-old grandpa goblin. The makeup... Again, put a pin in it. I got to go back to the makeup. But, okay, but then it's funny because, again, in the second movie, the grandma makes...
They give him, like a pointy nose.
She makes a comment because we see him on the street.
He hasn't even grown into his nose yet.
It's truly... Like, it's just...
Except he did.
It's weird though because they clearly, like you said when we were watching the end of this, when you're like, they didn't know they were gonna do a sequel.
I was like,
because it's like they weren't ready to commit to that design. And the next one, it literally goes from this like nose that looks like a droopy nose to literally the most pointed, and his hair. I mean, they can change his hair obviously, but it's like what? But his growth.
What cracks me up is that when I said that, you're like, they were like, we don't want to look at this.
yeah, sorry, I forgot. I was like, we don't want to look at this the whole time. We got to change that character design.
Poor thing.
But I know, he's like, please just go back to giving me Calabar's deal. I'm so sad. Which, okay, but it's cute because one, here's his growth. I'm going on a Luke dive real quick because it's a great
I thought you were going to say I'm going down a loophole. A loophole sounds weird.
I am thoroughly down the
No.
Listen, put hat down. Listen. Yeah, the character development of this is super, I think it's just so well done, and I wish he'd come back for the third one. I wish that...
Yeah, you know what? Why didn't he come to the high school?
I don't know. Because
is that too much? To be the same where they just kind of like... We don't want to bring him, and we want to focus on the other high school students.
Because they didn't make them romantically linked, which we were saying it could have been possible for them to be, but like they did such a good job.
Yeah, because he clearly at the end of it, she kissed him on the cheek,
which it could be taken as more of just like a cute.
Clearly. I mean,
is,
but
they did a great job of him being a really good friend because one, he has this growth of being this kid that's clearly, you know, being misdirected, manipulated by Calabar. He's using him to make, and he's being used, and he's like, oh, I get to look this way. But then at the end, he's clearly a good kid. Like literally, when he takes Grandma Aggie, to that theater, which we will also talk about, he's like genuinely like, you said she wasn't going to get hurt. Like he seems very
he's like, you said
he's like naive in the sense that he thinks that he's in control of the situation. He's not, and so clearly he's a good guy. It's just, I mean, you know, he's a kid. He's literally a kid. He doesn't,
he's like 13,
right? And I mean, there is a theater full of people whose souls are like frozen, but like, you know, he didn't want her to get hurt. So like at the end of it, he's clearly helping out
what
Marnie.
did he think was going on?
I don't even know
what
he was like, look where we are, don't hurt her. Like what? There's a floating man.
A man got thrown into the abyss, never to be
Stevie,
seen.
What happened to that man? You're like, I don't want to know.
Also, throughout the entire movie, I noticed this time there's somebody that looks just like Merlin.
Every time he came on screen, Stevie's like that.
I'm like, Merlin.
Leonardo DiCaprio from the Street Side.
They were like a female version of Merlin.
It was cool and like tall. Like,
they were working it. And again, reminded me of SpongeBob in the movie. But like a blue outfit instead of a purple one. But I was like, I never noticed how many scenes they were in.
They honestly do use a lot of the extras, obviously. But it's like, and at the end, you can see it's all the extras grouped together. Yeah. But she's so, like, I think it's, like she's like stands out. It's amazing. But
very
it's like,
tall hat.
Theater. I can't. The way they're just like, everything's fine.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, but what happened to that man who got thrown into
literally was like, this man went into the abyss, and we're like, is he...
What is the abyss? Okay. It looks like in the second one.
What is any of this?
Yeah, it looks like.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me finish my little Luke tangent real quick, because then we're gonna go into the theater, the makeup. We have all these things to touch on. But Luke's thing is that it's like he clearly, what was I gonna say? Like, he learns, he helps them out in the end. Then, like, by the end, like, he's clearly realizing, okay, I can accept myself as this goblin, right? Flash to the next one. He's like he's just such a nice guy. Like, you can tell he's matured.
He's so chill.
He truly has grown into his nose and his mature. Like, he's great. And he's just like such a nice, constant, like, companion to Marnie. And he's just there for the journey.
Supportive.
Yeah. And the way that, again, but the way when that spell, I know we're not talking about the second one right now. We will talk about more of this when we do the second. But just the way when he's like under the spell and he's just like, anyway, Trappa apart. Like, he's like gray and he's just like whatever. And I'm like, please stay like that. You look so
gray.
Cute.
Oh yeah, I know he goes back.
I'm like, please. And then when he starts turning back and his ears turn into
he's like hello.
But again, you're like, nice guy. They could have had a romance, but I like how it was cute how it was just like, he's just her friend. Like, he's great.
Because she had to have the romance with Cal,
even
and
if
then
it was
he wasn't even the third one. Spoiler alert.
But also, yeah, well, you know what? This is our love letters.
This is our love letter.
And everything in this, but also you can experience this the exact same way if you know everything. Because it's literally a vibe.
It's magical.
Halloweentown is just like, it's truly the aesthetics.
It's a state of mind.
But going back, though, so now, I'm sorry. Luke, love you. Philip Van Dyke, thank you for your services. You're great. Would have loved to have seen you in a million other things.
He looks like a Philip.
He does. Philip's a good name.
It is a good name. I had a plant named Philip.
Aww.
He told me his name. 1L.
He told me. 1L. Okay.
God, I'm at Walmart.
With 1L as well.
Walmart. With 1L, Walmart. Gualmar.
What did you say?
Gualmar.
It's funny because I was thinking about it with 2 L's. I'm like, Walmart. A Walmart. But, okay. Real quick, talking about the makeup now in this film. They must have had, like, makeup is, like, well done in it, but, like, from here up. They, like, must have had every extra sit in the chair for an hour or more and do the makeup.
That's probably why, because they had so many extras that they were like, we're going to make them look...
like, good.
Good, but only their face.
And it's like
maybe their hands.
Yeah, maybe if they like, that werewolf, got some hairy hands. Everything else, if they, like, when they're doing that, exercise class, there's dogs in that. There's a leopard woman. And just the face.
The leopard lady scares me.
Because it reminds me of many things. It reminds me of the Scooby-Doo animated movie where they turn into cats. And that's the zombie movie, too, with the voodoo. Great film.
The one where Shaggy turns into a werewolf?
No, I think it's a different one. I'm talking about the one where they go to
Zombie
that island
High,
and they go to the
Not Zombie High. I think that is the one where he turns into a werewolf, no?
It's the one
Dylan
where there's, like,
and I were talking about this
family
recently.
or these sisters and, like, they do voodoo.
I think that's the same one.
They turn into cats. And then there's zombies also. I think it's the same movie.
I'm going to look it up because now I'm curious.
All I know is those things
Shaggy has a red shirt in that movie.
See, I don't think that's the same one because I know which one you're talking about. But also, man, what a vibe. Those movies were scary because for the first time they ever tried to take off a mask.
So good.
And they wouldn't come off, Stevie. Wouldn't come off.
Because they were real.
This is real stuff. The voodoo of it all. Real. Okay, but...
Oh, yeah, this one is Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf.
See, why did I think look up the cat zombie movie? Yeah. It is the same film, I think. Not of that, but like those two things. I'm like, what? I felt like those were two distinct films: a cat person voodoo
and the
movie.
Witch's Ghost. No, Ghoul School.
Look up Voodoo.
I thought Ghoul School was the one where he turned into a werewolf, but it's not.
A few minutes. Look at these cat. Look, so this is how they turn into cats. Do you see that?
Show them.
Cats. Wait, let's see if it.
That doesn't look like cats. That looks like werewolves.
Like, okay. Yeah. But then look, they use voodoo, but then look at the zombies. Hold on. I'm going to show you this. This is terrifying looking. Look at that. What?
That is terrifying.
What? This movie was a lot. And then they use voodoo?
Hoodoo. Do what?
Hoodoo.
Remind me of the Babe.
That's scary. I got to get away from Maybe, wait, are those zombies or are those just cat zombies?
Do you think we could cover Labyrinth?
Is that I've never seen Labyrinth, so we could. I know. I mean, I've seen parts of it, but
I talk about... Well, Phoebe Cates isn't in that, but what's her name? Jennifer Connelly has that like dark hair vibe.
She's adorable in that. Is that
and she's married to Paul Bettany.
Didn't he say he had a crush on her in that film or something? And that's
Can
why.
you
like,
imagine?
I think she's a lot of like people's first.
This
crush
is why. This is why.
That's their Luke. Dare I say?
No, this is why when I'm always like, I have a chance. Every time, like, you find out, like, I'm like, oh, we're around the same age. I have a chance. Like, I'm ever going to run it. But you never know.
Talking about TikTok mutuals. Or, like,
We'll see, but that's different. We do have a chance. But when I found out that Grant Gustin years ago, I was like, I thought he was gay. Whatever. And
the way that he'll always be Sebastian to me before he was ever the Flash, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Right.
He was always first.
Well, that's why when he was in Flash, which I love him.
Yeah,
Barry.
Yeah, for sure.
I love him as Barry.
But it's funny because when he got announced for that, I was always like, Sebastian.
That's him from Glee. But I thought he was gay. And then I went, what? When I found out he wasn't gay, I was like, I have a chance.
Are you telling me you're into women?
I was like, yeah.
Are you telling me?
I was like, this whole time, and Genesis is like, you never had, come, please.
First off,
me
every time Dylan O'Brien's brought up throughout the years. No, that's like when I told you again. Speaking of the chance thing, it's funny because when I was like 11 or 12 is when
chance,
Zach,
like from Homeward Bound.
No, like the term chance that you were talking about. What? Why?
No, I didn't know if you had a crush on him. He's a dog. You know,
that would never listen. You know that. Well, that's a real living, breathing.
Yeah,
dog.
It's a real
Dodger from Oliver and Company is a different story. Okay,
but it was also
Billy Joel.
It was also
sorry.
It was
Michael J. Fox. Yeah, no, Michael J. Fox voice.
One of my first crushes too. Not just his voice, but
Atlantis.
As a child.
Atlantis. What's his name in Atlantis? Milo.
What?
You literally just did a TikTok with his voice.
That's him?
Yeah.
I didn't watch Atlantis much as a child.
I only saw it a few times because it kind of freaked me out.
Are you telling me that this whole time it's been Michael J. Fox and I didn't know that?
What? It literally sounds like him.
You literally just did a TikTok.
You just lip synced.
I always hear his voice and know it's him, but why did I not know that was him? Oh my god.
That's funny.
This is,
you know what that is?
You know what that is? This is a revelation that I don't know.
He kind of looked like a really like lanky, thin, tall version of him because he's got that like hair color.
No, the movie. Not the place. Sorry.
Oh, they're telling me. I'm like, what?
No.
I remember I've only seen it a few times because I remember it made me sad, the opening of that movie.
I want to watch
it again. How her
again.
mom gets taken away. I was like, what the heck?
See, I don't even remember it well, but Milo's adorable.
Made me sad. It's where I learned because there's a whole joke where he's like, I'll drive the car, and then he can't drive it, and they're like, you don't know how to drive, get out. And there's like a joke with that, and I remember my parents were like, oh, it's because he's from New York, like that was the joke.
Because he doesn't, they don't.
Yeah, but I was like, what? And that's like where I first learned that whole stereotype of like they either walk or take cabs or the subway, you know. But it was just really funny.
That's true.
They like made a whole thing about him being from New York.
I'm gonna lose my mind. I can't believe this. I'm like, why are you bringing up Michael? Why are you bringing up Atlantis?
Yeah, I know. I said it and you just hung in the air there for a minute. You're like, okay.
Anyway,
wait, that is funny though because I feel like he's always so many different voices. Like I feel like there's another one we're thinking that like Stuart Little and stuff. You know?
But I never had a crush on Stuart Little. My mom used to say I looked like Stuart Little because of his smile and his cheeks. I'm like, thanks, Mom.
He has a really cute cheek. He's always like. And he's always jutting his
when
face
he walked
like
in, when he walked in and met everybody, they're like, "Here's our new son," and
he's like this,
and he goes, "Hello, everyone," and then he smiles, and my mom was like,
Michael J. Fox
"That's
is the sweetest voice in the world. I love
Michael J. Fox." And then he was in Spin City, right? I used to watch that.
And then what's it called? What was the one he was originally in? The sitcom.
Yeah, when he was little.
With his when he was
Isn't that the one where he was with Alyssa Milano? No, or I know she was in Who's the Boss, but for some reason
what was it called?
Hold on.
Family?
Yeah, it was like not like Growing Pains. It was like Growing Pains, but it wasn't
kind of like Growing Pains because he kind of plays that role of the oldest brother.
But I didn't watch it because I don't even think I was born.
I don't think I watched Spin City either. I just knew that's where he met his future wife.
I watched it even though I was a child and I did not know what was going on.
I know. It's like those movies or those shows when you're a kid and you're like, these are very grown-up terms. Like, it's not family. Yes.
Yeah, it ended before I was born.
But it's that thing where, like, Spin City, like, none of it's, like, necessarily inappropriate, but you just cannot grasp the concepts they're talking about. You're like, what? Okay.
I'm sorry. I used to watch Murphy Brown, too, and I was like,
you're literally 7. Like, what am I?
I'm like, I want to be a lawyer. No,
I'm telling you, that's like, I remember I used to think that about so many of those type of shows where I'm like, I don't know.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about that meme that's the Stuart Little one that I posted on my Facebook recently. That's like the parents going to the orphanage. And they're literally, I'm going to find it. But they're literally like looking at these children and they're like, we'll take the rat.
The children's not the rat king. Goes to the throne and says, I am tough.
he's a mouse, not a rat. But also, I love rats. I love rats.
It's a rock. I can't.
It's a rock.
I'm getting a headache from laughing. I'm sorry. Hold on.
It's not just a rat. It's a mouse.
It's a mouse. I can't.
We went way off track. But anyway, what were you saying?
About a chance. I said I wouldn't have a chance. A freaking chance. The dog. I can't. No.
Listen, you're like, that's a real dog. How dare.
I was like.
Don't take me for that
Listen. Nothing is wrong when you're a kid. It's literally shameless because
that's why.
You don't mean anything by anything.
Sure, I've listened to podcasts and I think it was "And That's Why We Drink, But Don't Call Me." Anyway, I've heard people say I think they had a crush on Chance before.
Well, that's why when people like make fun of it, it's like there's nothing foul amuck here. No, like, what are y'all talking about? Like, literally me talking about the Dodger dog from Oliver and Company. I'm like, I wanted to be a dog and I wanted to like marry him or I want whatever. Yeah. And it's like people are like, you're wild or what the heck? That's gross. And I'm like, I was not thinking of anything but literally just thinking that he was so cute.
Yeah.
It's like when you think of like people. Friends will make fun of me again for bringing this up about Simba. Simba's a nicely drawn lion.
Simba or people also. I didn't know.
Why'd they give him eyebrows and facial expressions that look like humans that, again, look way more human-like
adult Simba
and real than the live action?
Redhead. His hair is so beautiful.
Literally, he is Philippine.
Luke.
No, it's the thing, though, where it's like, where I'm like, that looks more realistic and human-like.
Robin Hood.
That looks more human-like than the live action. Like, obviously.
What?
That of Lion King.
Oh.
Like, again, well, duh, because, again, that's a literal lion with no facial expressions. But again, it's like when anytime you see them have
human... It's a literal lion. My father. I'm
so sad.
He's literally like did you see the side by side?
Yeah, where they're like, this is the same scene. He's like...
And then... Wait, you do the... Wait, I can't do it now. When he's literally like...
Oh, my God. The music is like...
Oh, no, but it's a terrible
I love that music.
My heartstrings. Anyway.
But here's the thing is that, when you give characters like that, like facial expressions that look human, like Robin Hood, obviously you're going to be like, he's so cute. Like, I'm in love with him.
Every fox.
Robin Hood.
Marion, my darling. I love you more than life itself. Are we not all
but Maid Marian in this one? Listen.
Are we all?
Love you more than life itself.
I love you more than life itself.
What I was saying about the Chance thing is that when I was like 11 or 12 and when High School Musical came out, I was obsessed with Zac Efron, right? And I had him like plastered on my door. And I remember he was like 18 at the time or 19 or whatever. And I remember being like, our age difference, which again, at that age, of course, the gap is huge. Yeah. But I remember thinking it was so like we could never have a chance even when I'm older. Like it doesn't make sense. But literally then whenever, what's it called? What's the movie called with him and Zendaya and...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. What's it called?
The Greatest Showman.
Thank you. I'm losing my... Anyway.
Yeah, because she's younger than us.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When as soon as they paired them up, which I know it's like a movie, but like I literally was like, I was over here weeping thinking that he could never be paired. Yeah, and I'm like, she's clearly like, she's like 2 or 3 years younger than me. And I'm just like...
That was like me at 11 when I first watched Pirates of the Caribbean. And I was like...
Oh, my...
Meanwhile, I'm 11 and Johnny Depp is like 40 something.
Okay, but also the fact that like Keira Knightley was like
19.
Oh, 19, but then she wasn't like 17 or 18 in Love Actually?
Oh, yeah, okay.
She was younger. She's just like been she's always got this ageless look though to her.
Love her.
She looks like she's from
a time period.
Huh?
Pride and Prejudice.
We can't. We must stay focused. What were we? We literally, I can't. We literally.
Listen, this is a love letter episode, and it encapsulates a lot of things.
You know, though, you know what's funny? It's not. You know what's not funny?
It's not funny.
It's not funny, is it? I was going to say.
I've got school.
I got school tomorrow. It's not funny. I got school. But I was going to say the last person on the cast list that I still haven't mentioned. Yes. Is played by Robin Thomas. Stevie and I had a moment. Man. Yeah, beautiful man. We had a moment because we were just like,
evil. Doesn't stop us
beautiful.
From loving
luscious hair.
Luscious.
Nice facial structure. We were watching it. Yeah. Charming. Plays it well. Yeah. Plays it well. We were like, how old do you think he is? Like, just for kicks. And we were like, like we were like, he looks like he's in his 40s, but like early 40s maybe. But then you were like, that man's probably like because 30.
Like back
like
then,
literally, yeah.
Well, that was a 1998 movie where usually it's like the 80s ones where you're like they're like 17 and they look like they're 35.
Yeah. It's and just I was like I could see him being 35 and we're just like, what?
Yeah, I was
like what?
He's probably 34.
Yeah. But we looked at 49.
He was 49.
And again, you can look good at any age, obviously. And like, but the thing is, that's what's great. You can look at it at any age, but he looks like he is in his 40s. Mm-hmm. He's just, I I really like how he looks.
Yeah. No hate to any age, anything.
No,
age,
yeah, that's what we're saying. Like, it's like, I don't even like saying you look good for being 49. It's more just like, no, you just look like a good-looking 49-year-old. Like, okay, like, it's a thing. And I'm like, I like
aging happily.
And again, his hair.
Yeah, his scruffy. I like when, like, when he gets revealed as being the villain, he goes back to being his like human warlock form. They're just like, just give him a bedhead look.
Yeah,
like,
they
literally were like,
ruffle it up in there. It's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Floof it up. But it's, you know how we feel about floofy brunettes. Literally.
I don't know. Okay, here's the thing. If you have black hair, you're not brunette.
What do you call someone with black
hair? Oh. But that's my question. I always thought brunette was brown.
You want to know why? I'm an avid reader of all Archie comics, been since I was in literal second grade or whatever. And every time they would reference, people are like, Riverdale? I'm like, yes, but no. Literally
Sarah still to this day collects Archie comics when we go to the grocery store.
Publix, I'm like, grab the comic. Yeah. You're like, what?
She's like, it's like a reward.
Wait.
The glug. No.
It's like a reward. It's literally... It's true though, but in that they would all. This is where I got this from because I see what you're saying because I could agree with it kind of, but it's funny because when I would read those comics, they would always refer to Veronica as a brunette. And she clearly has black blue hair, like the way they give the shimmer to her hair.
I would say no.
Apparently, I looked it up though recently because in my TikTok about Dazai I mentioned brunette, so I was looking up to make sure that you spell.
I'm also googling.
You know how you spell brunette differently,
and blonde too.
With no D. Which like I think sometimes it is optional. Like usually it's the femme version that people use, but still. Yeah. But they were saying that brunette means brown or dark-haired person, so I think it can mean any variety of dark hair.
Well, not in my world.
You're like, what do you just call people with black hair?
Well, I'm Googling it. I don't know. Because I just in my...
Because in like there's an Archie comic where like Betty and Archie get to sit together at a concert. You're like, no.
Luna, Beanie's chewing on my
There's an Archie comic though where they're like sitting at a concert or like they end up getting seats differently and like Veronica gets front row because she's like super rich and she got that accidentally. And she's like, no, I wanted to sit by Archie, but Betty gets to sit by Archie. And she keeps looking back to look at them and be like, they better not be smooching. And this guy is like, the brunette in the front keeps looking back like, stop, what are you doing? And I was like, brunette.
You're like brunette.
It's just one of the ones. Every time Steve will bring up something, I'm like, well, there was this one panel in an Archie comic.
Meaning it's law.
I learned about life from Archie.
But also, what's funny is that my mom loves Archie and you love Archie and you guys are different generations.
Listen,
and I think that's
because
beautiful.
It spans generations. Literally, I'd read the comics and it would be the digest and it would have like ones from the 50s and then ones from like the 80s and then modern day. Incredible. Riverdale's like...
Also, according to Google, it says you might also hear people calling them raven-haired. But that's an old-fashioned phrase.
Which is interesting because that's cool. What I would call Veronica because she's got that blue-black hair.
Well, from now on, black-haired people are raven-haired in my eyes instead of just black.
But it's interesting that there's not like an absolute term unless you just use brunette because it's like you think.
Yeah, like you can't just say like raven. You know what I mean? Like you have to say hair. Like where it's not like just blonde hair, brunette hair.
She's a raven.
She's raven.
That's so raven of her. So I think I brought this up at the end of this where I'm like, we always talk about this with like any decom. It's like it's over in an instant because it's like very obviously the structures are very simple and easy to grasp. Yeah, like they're obviously very like simple plots to like grasp, obviously. But like this one, it's funny because it's like once they get to Halloweentown, like they sneak on the bus, get there, like it's just funny how it's not simple because it's just like it goes by so quick. Like they're like, okay, our mom and grandma have been to, again, the theater, nothing is answered for me. I'm like, what is this theater's, because we're talking about Calabar, okay? And we're talking about how Calabar he's got his other form.
Yeah.
Remember
he's
how I was
also
saying,
the mayor, and he also dated their mom.
Yeah, which is funny because they're literally like, and which was a mistake. Like, they're never like, oh, they could have been something. She's like, no, ew, I knew that you were something was up with. I knew something was up with you, and it's remember she had a good judgment because he's all like, you married a human, and she's like,
she ran off with their dad because Calabar. That's not why.
I know. I'm like, is it correlated or was it like years later? And he's like, you left me for him.
No, yeah, because she literally went back and she's like, oh, you know what I mean? She was like still flirty with him.
Oh yeah.
So like clearly they just like casually dated.
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't like
it wasn't like he was
ominous. It sounds like she's just like, oh hey, as opposed to, and she didn't know he was evil.
And everybody loved him.
Yeah, and it's like they just fizzled out, obviously.
Yeah, even Aggie didn't. You know, here's the
That's
thing.
what I was telling you.
Why is it that the bad thing they can like Sophie can sense the bad thing, but she never senses it.
But she did the way he was like, you want blah blah blah, and she's like,
no, because she grabbed the lollipop and she's like, ah.
But then I thought when he kept calling her Soapy, she was like, stop. But also she's just irritated.
I think she was just
for
like,
the sake of being irritated. Yeah, maybe.
Like she wasn't like, he's just a good.
I guess you're right.
He's got a good mask.
But it's
mask
weird too
off.
because with mask on,
mask
it's
off.
what we were saying though. Where I was telling you, it's just interesting that clearly she ended on good terms with him, because I was telling you whenever she goes up to Caliber, I'm like, she doesn't feel like, oh, I know you dated my daughter, I can't really like, we don't really talk.
Yeah,
like,
she's like, you're the mayor.
You're the mayor, and like that's the past. They probably were like 16. Yeah, like it's a thing where it's like I feel like he stuck with it in his head, being like, one day I'll get you back. But then when she left and had kids, he's like, never mind.
He's like, you're back. Yeah. Who are these children?
I know, he literally is like, why would you have children with a human, whatever. But like, I know they're literally in their 40s, and he's like, how dare you? And she's like, we were literally 17. Like, yeah, no wonder she's being like, well, hello, like, it's nice to see you again, whatever.
He's like, let's go, night on the town. And then he's like, wait, these are your children? Maybe he thought that Aggie had another child.
I feel like I thought that he knew. Remember I brought that up, I was like, oh, I thought he knew, but he didn't.
Yeah, because when they walked into the mayor's office, they're like, we need the mayor. Yeah. And she's like, you're the mayor? And he's like, because he was like asking her out on a date. He's literally like, let's go. I can get up early. We can go to like the pier or whatever he said. And then the kids walked in, and he's like, oh.
That is weird that he didn't know. He's just like, you're Aggie's
he knew
grandchildren.
That. Did he not know that she doesn't have another child? Like,
that doesn't seem right. And it didn't seem like he was feigning like surprise unless he was.
Yeah, I think he literally was like, huh? Because he's like, you ruined my date plan.
I know. He's like, first off, what are you doing here?
First
off, how dare you be connected to her? How dare she have kids with a human? But the thing is, what was I gonna say? When he's in his like ghoul form, whatever the heck that is. Remember I was telling you, like,
he's, like,
it's almost like
together.
It's weird though, because it like he embodies the actor's face. Like they did a good job of it. Kind of looks like him without looking like him.
But I mean, it is him, but they put
but they did a good job of keeping his like eyebrows having that, because he's got very dark, thick eyebrows. I feel like it like makes his facial expressions. But it's funny because terrifying in that theater, absolutely reminded me of Phantom of the Megaplex. Reminded me of like, he looks like Sam with like the Sam. What's his name from? What's the movie?
Sam. Oh,
Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
That, like,
I was thinking that too, because
like
it
a head,
looks like he's
that
almost stitched together.
But then when he's out in the daylight,
but his skin, it's like skin.
A little bit laughable, I gotta say, because he's over there like, oh, and it's like bright, like it's this brightness behind him instead, like in the dead, like the daylight, and I'm like, okay, I see you for who you truly are,
which is ugly.
It's like,
okay, but here's the thing too, is that like when they're in the theater, they open the door to the sunlight, and he's like, no,
oh yeah,
and then later he's just in the.
You're right.
Later he goes out into the sun, but then again, that is
the whole
me
thing about why they didn't keep it open while their mom and grandma's getting zapped.
But also, if you wake me up with a bright light, I'm still gonna.
He's like, I've been in the dark too long. I needed to adjust first. He probably would have adjusted.
But also, I think that theater was just abandoned, and he was like, "This is my hub, and I just keep people here because nobody comes here."
No one wants to take in a good movie night.
Maybe it was like being renovated.
How many movies are in this town? How big is this town?
I need a map of Halloweentown. We need that book.
Why sell that? Why is there not like a? That would be so cute. Probably because it's not
another
fleshed out.
thing that we need.
Not fleshed out. We need a prequel. Flesh it out.
Listen, but apparently there's a pier, or he said something about. I feel like he said pier.
But like so. But it's we need a map. Okay, that's all I'm saying. But
all I'm saying.
Is so anyway, the theater, a mystery to me. But it's the catalyst because their mom and their grandma get like frozen. What did you say about?
Oh my! The way she's like, it's just an evil spell that freezes us. Go. And I also like how she's like, never.
And then remember, we both were talking about our experiences when we were kids, and now when poor baby Luke gets like, he's like, he like keeps repeating, and he's like, what is it? He's like 2 by 2 and 3 by 3. Will you shut up? And he's like, sorry. And I felt that.
He's literally like, yeah, you thought. Like everything that Calabar says, he like backs it up. Kind of like in a rap song where they're like,
every time. It's like a thing. Yeah. 2 by 2, 3 by 3.
And 3 by 3. He's like, can you please?
It's so funny, and I feel so bad because he looks so. It's not even just like a oops, sorry. It's like he literally looks wounded, and he's like, sorry. He wants a place to belong. Stevie.
I know. Does he have a family? Because it seems like he has like a bad home or something.
Local punk. Put it on a shirt.
Local punk. Picture of Luke. Which picture? Human form. Both. All three.
As the gray form of him.
Oh my. That's true. That makes more sense.
I'm dying. No, okay. So that starts, and they're like, well, what do we do? Didn't they figure out that the spell that they were trying to create is the one that their grandma showed them, right? For the bad, like they're trying to ward off the bad thing. And you need The sweat.
I'm sorry, you put your hand in the front of the thing. And it just was like...
Can't see me, Drake.
I was thinking John Cena.
Yeah, wait, that's John Cena. I was thinking Drake hands like this. And then John Cena is Can't See Me. I mixed the two. What am I doing? What's happening? Can't see me. Okay.
Is that copywritten? Probably.
They need Sweat of a Ghost, Vampire Fang, Werewolf hair. And is that just those 3 things? And honestly, the main climax, not climax, but like chunk of this act of the film is like them getting those 3 things, which again,
I know. And then they're like, the power of love.
But like the tooth is getting taken out by the dentist at the and then you see, I never noticed you could see her tooth is blacked out, her real tooth. Hours in the makeup chair, and then just to have
that is true. Everything else
immaculate,
and then they're like, up.
And they just couldn't get. You could see the shimmer. They didn't even use that kind of black makeup that like doesn't have the glossy
matte.
A matte, but like it feels like there's a specific pitch black kind of thing they could have used, and it's like that's her tooth.
We suspended our disbelief. Also, I'm thinking she's a vampire. She uses that in her everyday life for everyday things that a vampire would need.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is it gonna grow back, or is she just gonna be one fake vampire?
I mean, it's a rotten tooth, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but also, again, what are the odds that day they go to the dentist and a vampire
that, and then they go to the place with the sauna or whatever with the ghost, and it's like, first off, this man, he's like, attendant, where are you? And I'm like, why are you in this?
Also, again, I was like, no death guard on duty, which I had never noticed before.
Why was me neither?
Instead of lifeguard.
And then why is it, that is funny though. Maybe I had seen that and I forgot it was like a lifeguard.
Because it's like in the background.
But it's like, what? Was he just down? And he's just over there like, anyway, kids. I'm like, if there was these 3 kids messing with me, I'd be like, get me out of this trap. Don't touch me. Apart.
Can we talk about Benny though? Because I love Benny. I want him on a shirt. It might just be because I love the name Benny.
Harriet and Benny. Don't talk to me.
Listen.
I have.
Benny, even when he's not evil, he's still ominous.
Yeah.
And he always tells dad jokes, and he'll be like, oh, I don't even know what he says. He's like, see ya.
And he's doing this.
See you later. And he goes, ha. Every time he says like a joke.
He's like, I am, I don't even know if I'm moving my eyebrows that well. But like,
as long
he's
as
doing
his
eyebrow
bone.
Get
me, ha.
And it's like, bro. Bruh.
But mortal see, mortal do. And they figure out that they have to put the spell lantern. Not lantern.
I was talking about against Benny. I was like, what?
Oh, no, sorry. I'm sorry. Anyway.
But see, that's why, because Benny turns freaky, Harriet turns freaky, hissing at people in the street. That's all leading up to like the theater thing. Yeah, literally a mannequin in the theater.
If you're like, that's a mannequin. She's like, Harriet.
She's literally a skull. Like, she is Benny. She's Benny now.
I like how they weren't like, let's put her back into, because they put like Debbie Reynolds and their mom, Gwen, what's her name? Well, Gwen and Aggie, they have them in there, and they're them. They're just like...
Yeah, well, maybe they just haven't been there that long, right?
No, it's just funny that they didn't get the actor back in for her. They were like, let's make a mannequin, even though they could have just had her...
Yeah, they could have just had her look faded. Like, what are they doing? What? They're like, she's gone, girl.
It's just
like,
she's an evil spell that freezes us.
And decays you. Like, what? What? She's on her, like, whatever.
I wish
mummified, literally.
I wish that they had changed that line, because every time it cracks me up. I'm like, it takes me out of it, because I wish that they were just like, she's just like, it's just suspending us. Yeah. You know, like, not a whole exposition.
You know what? That kind of takes a bit of the stakes away. I mean, well, I guess they got to know that there's a way to save them.
I mean, even if they know that, I just feel like I wish they had shortened it, because it's like a whole exposition. It would have been interesting though if
instead they had not even clarified and they're over there like, all right, they're dead. And then like, or like, what if, as always, Dylan was like, they're dead, there's no point. But then she's like, no, that could just be a spell. He'd make it, like, it's kind of that whole thing of like, he wants us to think that he won. He didn't, you know, and it's like, I don't know. Because I feel like now that I know,
imagine, well, it is a kid's movie, but like, imagine if they were like, oh no, but we're still gonna save the town anyway.
Yeah, that is a bit dark.
And then their grandma and their mom
would be lovely,
are back.
But I would be upset the whole movie.
Yeah,
I'd be. Yeah. I know myself as a kid, and I would have been like, I don't like this.
You're like, I can't pay attention now.
Yeah, now I'm upset.
Are they okay?
Now I can't do this.
Now
this is my life's mission. No, he like, okay, so they get all that stuff, make the stuff. They remember the spell because of Sophie, winner. And then that's when they go to the town. Don't they meet up with Luke because he's like saying
again, Sophie? Yeah, I was gonna say she's the one who saves the day every time.
She saves the day, but then they find Luke because he kind of reveals that he knows Calabar's plan, and she's like, "Listen, are you gonna help us or not?" And then the next thing we see is Calabar like revealing himself to the town, right?
himself, like, his not Calabar form.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no. And then he's like, he does reveal himself at one point when
I'm trying to remember now, because then we see her in a shadowy figure, like, as her caped self, her walking through the crowd, but then instead he like zaps her because he's like, I know what you're trying to do, like, you're trying to stop me.
Because she figures out, well, the mortal see, mortal do, did you say? That's when she's like, they're like, what do we do with now that we have the spell? Did you say this already?
No.
And she's like, remembering that they kept saying like mortal see, mortal do, because the grandma was like, well, they always want to be like us. That's why they have Halloween, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, well, where do you put... They always want to be like us. Yeah. And she's like, where would you put the light on Halloween?
In the jack-o'-lantern, which there's a massive jack-o'-lantern in all of the Halloweentown movies, but like this one, it's like apparently the town in Oregon that has this like still celebrates, and like they were gifted that pumpkin and they put it up every year during Halloween.
Should have it there all year.
I know, I'm like, why is it up all year? But it's
can I have it the rest of the time?
Yeah, that's cute. On the off season, can I?
On the off season,
it's cute. But like, yeah, that's figured like we gotta light the pumpkin, and that will be like what encompasses the whole town, like it wards off
with the spell.
And so that's why you see her figure running through the crowd, and he's like it's like killing her, like zapping her, you know what I mean. But then when he finds out
not her,
it's
Luke, good guy Luke,
development in progress, love it. But then
and he's like, ha, I told you I'd get you back, or whatever he said. He said something like that.
He's like all passed out, and he's like, he says something
that's like,
it makes sense with what he said before. But, because
he says something.
Real interjection real quick, because like our other interaction with Luke is when they first meet, and he's like being cocky
he's like, come on, I'll show you around.
Yeah, like, I'm the local guy here, local punk. Mm-hmm. And she's like getting her broom, and she's like,
he's like, I'll take you out to eat. And then she's like, I was hungry. And then I smelled something. Must have been the big cheese. What? Because he called himself the big. He's like, I'm the big cheese around here.
But it's so funny.
And he's like,
I was telling Stevie that my favorite thing too.
It's like Malfoy and Harry Potter.
It literally is. He's like, I can help you there. Oh, I can help you there.
He's like,
no thanks. I think I've got that sorted. I've got that sorted for myself.
Must be a Weasley.
Nobody says something like that.
Yeah, he does. No, I'm just talking about when he meets. He's like,
must be a Weasley.
Hand me down row.
You don't want to. Something about you
don't want to hang out with him.
I can help you there. I think I got, and then Harry's little face. He said, I think I got myself sorted actually for that. Thank you.
The way you whispered it.
Yeah. I got it right. Thank you.
And he's like, Ron was like, I was sure you were going to leave me there for a second.
I know. Literally that line, my mom and I quote that all the time with Cedric, where he's like, for a minute there, I thought you were about to leave me back there. He's like, for a minute there, so did I.
He's like, yeah. Don't know how we ended up here.
For a minute, I thought you were going to leave me there.
Bet you're wondering how I ended up here.
Bet you're wondering. No, but he like, what was I going to say?
The first time we see him.
Oh, yeah. But I was saying, I told Stevie that my dad and I always used to randomly quote that scene with that Elvis impressionist skeleton man skull guy. He's like, hey, little lady or whatever. A ghoul looking like, he's got like his
skeleton. Yeah. But again, just his face. But his hair is very
it's very eccentric. But like, but my dad and I would quote, because when he's like, that's your broom. And then he's like, you just got to turn. Like, she's like, how do I get it to go?
Wrap that up.
Yeah, he literally just goes. My dad and I would literally, out of nowhere, just be like, you want me to wrap that up for you? Like, anytime we would get something, buy something.
When I meet your dad, he must. Listen, Sarah and I have been like each other's world for like 3 years.
And literally every time you're like, I've never met her dad. And then
I was like, what does he look like?
There's so many different things where you're like, that's the first thing I'm going to tell him. And it's like, you want me to wrap that up for you? I can't.
I'm like, and where's the marshmallow toast? Or
and
whatever.
Then where's the marshmallow toast? It's midnight and I don't have marshmallow toast in my hand. If your dad, literally the two things you're going to know him for is like, well, there's many things, but no.
And a mustache.
Stop. This is so funny. You're like, I've got a list. He's going to be like, what?
No. Pulls out list 3 things.
The list 3 things.
Wrap that up for you.
But that line, you got to admit, what was that character? He's literally like, I am Elvis. And you're like, what? Okay.
Yeah, and then
he did bring some flavor. It's fine. You want to wrap that up for you.
And what I get mad about, too, is that the brooms, like I've told you, they made them so...
They're literally like Barbie plastic coloring brooms.
They look so dumb and plastic. Like and I know that they must have been trying to be like, well, let's make it like a modernized, like, cool thing. Because it was pre-year 2000. Yeah. You know how everything in the 2000s was like xenon. And like...
They were trying to, instead of doing a brown
why couldn't they have made it look like... cooler.
Couldn't you have done like a I feel like the
and
aesthetics
not so flimsy.
Could look gothic still and not be.
But in the second one,
yeah, they'd get better. Better.
They were more like Nimbus 2000s. But dare I say?
Dare I say? We're
Did I say 3000?
Isn't that weird? This came out before Harry Potter. Like that's why anytime I would see Warlock, I would be like, oh yeah, that's Warlock instead of Wizard. Like, it's just interesting.
Yeah, because there's always
that dichotomy.
Sometimes, and I think we've talked about this too, where like sometimes Warlock means evil, and sometimes
in Charmed it does.
Yeah, in Charmed, and I like when everyone's a witch.
Yeah, like in Charmed as well. We're like just Charmed.
Men and women are witches. Yeah,
and then like there are wizards, I think, but it's like a totally different fairy tale kind of thing. Like they're like, you know,
they're like, I thought you were made up. They're like, you're literally a witch.
I know, literally, they'd have like someone from a myth come out, and they're like, what? And they're like, what? Like you're Cupid?
Why would
like,
you?
Yeah, obviously, like.
Santa Claus. Did you see that they're making a Santa Claus? I sent it to you. They're making
Santa Claus
show.
Which I'm like, also, where's Charlie? Speaking of first crushes, when he was in the second Santa Claus, I thought he was the cutest thing in the world. I thought he was so cute.
He was adorable.
So precious.
But Bernard comes back. Did you see?
Yeah, literally. I got it first off.
Listen, I know we're a horror spooky movie
article.
Podcast, but I always want to be like, let's just throw that in there.
Listen. What was that BuzzFeed Night Before Christmas? Listen, what was that BuzzFeed article where it was like, my friend Taylor and I would laugh about that. The one that was like 20 other reasons why Bernard the Elf was your sexual awakening or something. And it was just like the fun, like
his curls.
An incredible article title.
He's like, I quote that movie so much. It's not Santa Claus, the person. Santa Claus, the claws.
The claws. First off, I love this. I'm telling you, like, I loved Charlie in the second one. I just thought he was.
You said Charlie, right? Or did you say Bernard? I said the curls, and I was talking about Bernard.
No, I knew that. You switched to Bernard.
Yeah,
you said Bernard. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, Charlie.
Because he was like, and then he came out in the third one too, and he's just kind of there because he was like, I'm at college now, but whatever. He was always on like on a ski trip. I remember he came back and they pulled his tooth out because they needed the tooth fairy, which doesn't make sense.
I thought that was the second one.
No, it's the third one because it's when Jack Frost is there and they have like the tooth fairy.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. The second one is when
the tooth fairy is in all of, and it's in the first and the second one.
But I remember it was the third one with his tooth because he's very not a problem.
I thought it was the second one because he's like he comes down and they're like, Charlie, how'd you get here? Because they couldn't get there, and then he's like, I'm missing a tooth.
That was the third one, I think. Because the second one, Charlie's like very against all of this. That's the whole.
Yeah,
point.
He is, but that's why he comes around at the end. Because remember. Now it could be. You could be right. You could be right. You could be right. But I never watched the second. But I never watched the second one. I mean, I never watched the third one. I usually watch the second one, and I feel like I always see the part with the tooth. Because they were trying to pull out, like, the adult's tooth, and they wouldn't come out. And then they had to use the girl's tooth, the little girl.
But she's not in the second one.
She's in the second one. She's not in the third one. Oh, I don't know if she's in the third one.
Hold on. She is in the
but
second
she's
one.
in the second one.
Because clearly, what's his name and her are
she's
together.
Like,
she's like, Uncle Scott? Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Because I thought it was so cute how Charlie's like, this is my little sister, and I love her.
I was like, how is that? Is he just, Neil's daughter, obviously.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I feel like when I was little, I was like.
You're right, I forgot the little girl obviously is in the second.
But that's her uncle?
When I think of her being in the movies, it's the second one, not the third one, because she's older in the third.
Sorry.
No, she's older in the third one as well. Because, obviously, because they're in they go up there and she's got her snow globe, and Jack Frost is like, Now I'm like, now I need to know where is that. Then what does he do in the third one then?
Who, Charlie?
He is in it, but he's very like neutral. Like he's just like, I'm going on a ski trip with my girlfriend or something, and they're like, what? Where'd Charlie go? But then he comes in at the end, and he's like, I'm glad y'all saved the day.
Well, because they tried to get there in the second one, but Comet ate too much. So they couldn't fly him there, so he had to like call the tooth fairy, but he had to like pull through that.
That's from the second?
Mm-hmm. When Comet gets too chubby. And he can't fly because they fed him too much.
I gotta rewatch this.
But yeah, I never watched the third one, but like I've seen it. I saw it in the theater.
So old as well. Like I was so young, and I thought and he's like literally 14. Like it's one of those things.
Yeah, maybe he's like 16 or
like I literally remember
he's
thinking
in high school in the second one.
Yeah, right? Isn't he? Because it's the principal.
Yeah.
Right? Unless it's junior high.
I know we're not talking about
I will lose my mind if it's junior high that he's in. I hate it when they do that. When they're like, what? I'm like, this looks... It's like Even Stevens, the whole thing takes place. I was going to say that
and Raven and stuff.
Ren literally is not an 8th grader. Are you kidding me? What?
Ren, to me, even now, looks like more adult than I do.
I remember thinking she looked like, so much like...
She's an adult.
I thought that she was literally...
Because she was
a
so
senior
tall.
Yeah, she's got... And then her face has...
Romano.
She literally looked...
Tall.
But it's funny now because like even now, like she doesn't look like she's even aged that much. Cause
It's not like she looked like old.
Right.
It's just
like,
that
she just
where
like
she's so
look,
mature.
Where she looked very... She acted very mature. Her presence was always just like... I was like, that's a junior in high school.
Yeah.
Like she just seems so much old. That's so fun. Now looking back, I'm probably like, that's a baby. But like...
I know we haven't seen... We're like, even now... Well, we haven't seen it in a while.
But it's funny because like I just feel like...
but yeah, like we're saying, Charlie from the first to the second... Talk about Dylan. But, like, the aging of like being literally like 8 to being like in high school.
Dylan's is like a year apart.
Yeah, Charlie is literally like, it's
makes
been
sense.
years.
He's like literally a 7-year-old.
And then he has a whole little sister, so it has been years.
Yeah, she's literally like 10. Makes sense, isn't it? She's like 9.
No, she's as old as he was because he says
okay,
it.
so you're right. So probably
she's like 7 or something. Your age. Anyway, we're not talking about the Santa Claus. I mean, even though we took like a 20-minute Santa Claus.
We're not. We could.
Probably
we could do whatever we want, actually.
Anyway.
But yeah, so they okay, so then once we find out that it's Marnie that's now on top of the pumpkin, she's literally has an adorable montage of the audio. You know how emotional that gets us.
Yeah.
Just like remember, she's like, I'm nothing special, and she's like, you are, you're Cromwell.
Magic.
And then we hear the magic is actually really simple. It's just wanting something, what is it? Simply wanting something and then letting yourself have it. I knew simply was in there because it's so profound of just being like,
it's very simple.
Oh no, yeah, that's it. It's very simple. Wanting something for the 50th time, and then what?
In case you didn't hear,
and then what? What do we let ourselves have?
It. That's not what I thought you were going to. I know. I thought you were going to present that differently.
I know, but you've executed it flawlessly. Thank you. But yeah, so and then in that moment, she realizes, I just want this to happen. And it works. And so it lands.
She just lets
she just lets herself have it. The power.
You know what?
That's
it's
so
funny
beautiful.
that in my head, I'm always like, no, she just dropped it and it happened in a drop word. But she had to have some sort of emotion to light.
She influenced it. No. She let it happen.
Girl,
it's her magic.
I feel like I never even thought about that.
And she lets it fall in there, and then literally it ignites. And then they think they defeat him in that moment, but then when her mom, like it undoes everything, their spell.
And they all run out.
They come out, Harriet zooms past.
Harriet's like
there's Merlin. And like they're all reunited, but then he's like, you fools, like you think you can end me? Like you half human, can you even stop me? And he's like going off about his thing about you married a human, all that stuff. And she's like, oh, she had better judgment, whatever. And then he's insulting me, like, you think you, a half human, can like stop me? And she's like, I love her delivery.
She's like, no. I like how she's not phased at all. She's literally like,
she's like, you're right,
but me,
but my, and
my
it's
sister,
cute because we see,
and my grandma,
and my brother, and my brother, because you see Dylan has a little bit of the magic because he's so angry at one point, and she's like, Dylan, you're mad, and he's like, no, this would be the normal one, but it's like, excuse me, it's what I brought up to you where I'm like, it must be in the second one or third where he's like, Dylan, you're magical too, or like there's a line where they
like it's your magic too or something. I think it was Sophie. It is. I think it's Sophie. It sounds like her when they're trapped on either side, and he's like, "Well,
I do remember that. I do
remember
your
magic too," and he's like,
"I love that." Fine. But they all join hands and they defeat Calabar.
Again, the ending. Spoiler alert. To all of the Halloweentown movies, except I don't remember the fourth one, but I feel like every time it's always like the power of love in a circle, like they're all like holding hands. And you know what? Maybe that is how we defeat evil in the world. Okay,
it's what I'm telling
power
you.
Power of love.
I'm ready for this. I'm gonna quote, and I mean this very seriously, even though I'm like laughing. But these are I'm telling you, the quote that I love, because I was telling Stevie about this funny Tumblr post where it was like me, heartless, hating the world, and it's like seeing that a movie is the ending is that maybe love was the answer all along. It's like, oh my gosh, but it's like there's this quote. Okay, we should cover it, and if we do, I'm gonna repeat this all over again.
This the one with? I feel like I know which one you're gonna say.
From The Village.
No, but we have to cover The Village.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I genuinely am obsessed with that film, and I know. It's so good. And there's this part though, and when we cover this again, I will literally dive into this quote a million times again. But I literally wrote this like in everything because I was like, I love this quote. But it was like the part where William Hurt, he's like, he sends off the daughter because she's blind, right? And like it's Bryce Dallas Howard, and like they're like, how can you do that? She's blind. She'll never find her way. And he says, she's more capable than us because she's led by love. And he's like, the world moves for love. It kneels before it in awe. And I literally, I'm getting choked up.
I can't.
It's like so true though, where he's just like, it's the one thing that stops people in their tracks. Like, the world moves for love.
It's true.
It kneels before it. It's true. I think that's...
No, it's beautiful.
So
I feel like you've told me that before, and I feel like
we're gonna flesh it
out. Like,
literally, I need it plastered on the wall. It's literally, we're gonna talk when we cover The Village. You're gonna prepare to be sick of me, because it's like it's so, and he delivers it so well too. But it's so true because it's just like it's the thing that no matter if you're bad, good, evil, like if love has touched your life, it's something that makes you be like in any form.
That is
Stevie
true.
and I are big advocates for love of any form being the most like it's powerful in any form. Clearly, the power of familial
That's true,
love.
I think we talked about it in the last episode where we were talking about how like even like villains like
you
were saying villains don't they think that like evil people don't love, but I feel like too that like a lot of the things that they're doing are because of love.
Right, and there's different varying levels.
Even though they're not doing it in the best way.
There's villains who think that they're doing something right. There's villains who are sickos. There's but even then, there's people. Everyone's most likely
people. Yeah,
a lot of people in general are humans though. Regardless, like it's just interesting. I don't know.
I don't know about IRL evil. I'm talking about
and like
cinematic
and it's
evil
different than people who are like not there, and it's like you are doing things and you're doing things bad or whatever. Or I don't know. Too far gone to realize. Some people. No. Some men just want to watch the world burn. But it's a whole thing where clearly there's people who are human. I'm just saying. It's a whole thing. But yeah, like I just feel like it's something that can unite. It truly can unite the world. What? Love.
It.
Again. It. What?
It.
But the familial love in this and just in general, it's incredible. Powerful.
And they defeat him. Yeah. And then they defeat Calabar. And then that's the end. They go home, but then no, there was a really cute moment with her mom because her mom was like, "I'm sorry that I didn't give you a chance." They have a really good,
mature apology.
Yeah, and then she's like, "I'm sorry." I don't remember what Marnie says.
She's like, "I'm sorry for how I talked to you and acted." Like she says both of like what I said.
But then she again, because you were quoting Mulan, because she's like, I couldn't have asked for a better.
She's like, you're everything I've ever wanted from a daughter and more. And I was
that is what she, I'm like, she couldn't have asked for a better.
But it's like the greatest gift and honor is having
you as a daughter.
Him throwing the sword of Shan Yu on the ground. Shan Yu on the ground.
It was beautiful.
Who cares about that stuff when you're alive and you're my daughter and I love you?
And then immediately the mom was like, well, she's Aggie said something and she's like, yeah, but I can't cross over once Halloween is over. And she's like, well, you're just gonna have to come live with us.
That is
and they were like,
which again, they're taking her away from Halloweentown. It's funny. But it's like, it's not about that.
But at least the time passes faster over there, so she can like hop back over. You know what I mean? Like the time
I see what you're saying.
I feel like I would rather live in the mortal. Well, first of all, I would rather live in Halloweentown. But if I was gonna go back and forth, if you live in the mortal world and you go home to Halloweentown, like you can be there for like weeks.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because
and it'll be like an hour. You know what I mean? The way the time passes in Halloweentown is longer. Because remember in the second one, Marnie, spoiler alert, gets trapped in Halloweentown and she's like, it's gonna feel like years here, and it's only gonna be like a year in the mortal world because she wasn't able to go back.
I see. How interesting though, because it's like so
it's
basically
longer there.
It's like if you're in Halloweentown and you wait for the next Halloween to cross over, it takes forever. Like years. That's why she said that, because she's like, the next time it's Halloween for us to cross over, we missed it. That's right. So it's like, that makes sense. Where it's like, yeah, we'll come back next. It's fine.
Yeah, I feel like that would be easier.
The point was that they just need to be connected as a family. It was less about the place and more about how she was refusing to keep up the culture. Yeah,
because she can still learn magic.
And that's what she said, where she's like, I will be continuing
I know. Training. She's like, I'm going to fly. She's like, no.
And they're like,
I'm gonna.
And you're like, she's not still gonna let her. And she's like, I will be continuing. And I'm like,
she's like, I'll be continuing.
And the way you said that, like Debbie Reynolds always was like,
I know, every time she reacts, she's like,
oh, so precious.
She's so cute. But also, I love that we talked about character development a lot and like how Dylan and stuff. But I like how the mom, like from the. She really, after that, she's like, all right, I'm back to being a witch. Like she's like, I'm using it. When she does that
spell on Luke about flowers instead of powers, and she's like, way to go, Mom. I can't.
Flowers. I said powers, not
she
flowers.
Just knows it right off the top. Yeah. She's like, let me just do my spell.
She's probably rusty. But she, later in the other movies and stuff, she's just like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm just going to do this.
Let me just do my spell. That. Don't worry about
it.
Oh my gosh, yes. The second, we're going to cover the second one. But, what was I going to say?
But the power of love was the savior all along.
Maybe it's not about the Halloweentown. It's about the power of love we make along the way.
That we find along the way.
But like, what were you going to say though about, where she's like, oh, I'll train you. I feel like I was going to say something.
Pours water all over me.
All I know, beautiful ending. Cuteness, greatness, much good things to come.
Well, listen. It's hard to rate this movie because
but also we need to do the guessing game.
Okay, yeah, we're going to do the ratings. We're going to guess the ratings. And by we, I mean Sarah.
Me.
Because we're going to play Sarah Guess the Ratings.
With the pumpkin being the reward this time.
But today, title pending. But today.
Look how cute.
Hold on. The reward
Precious.
Is this pumpkin. It's a USB. And if you want one, I got it at Target.
Yes.
Or you can, Sarah can win it.
Incredible.
Anyway, it's beautiful.
Incredible.
It's beautiful. Okay. All right. I have 3 for you.
Okay.
I have Common Sense Media, I have Rotten Tomatoes, and I have IMDb.
I've got 3 for you.
They're all out of different things, though, this time.
Okay.
So we'll do Rotten Tomatoes first out of 100.
Now, I would like to believe, and this is optimistic, but at 93%.
80%. Also, do you want to guess the audience score?
Oh, because they have 2, because it's so that was the critics.
That was the critics.
Okay, well, the audience, I'm going to say 93.
71.
What?
You snakes. Snakes.
I'm shocked.
Shocked and dismayed.
Also, that
I don't know if that's
it's so funny the way I can never read what it's actually going to be until Stevie announces it, because you do such a good poker face. You're
Thank you. I'm like,
and I'm like, what is it then? Like, you never.
We have Google users too.
Oh, okay, good. We got
okay.
4.
Well, I'll do that one instead of common sense, because this is the one we usually do.
Who are you? I'm just kidding. Sorry. Me. No.
Who are you?
No offense.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Okay, this one's also out of 100.
Out of 100. Okay, for Google users.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anymore. I'm going to say 85%.
81%.
Okay, closer. Pumpkin, you shall be mine to hold in a second.
IMDb is out of 10. Mine's you shall be mine to hold.
I don't know. 8.9.
6.6.
I don't trust the internet.
Everybody.
I don't know. You know what?
Listen.
I don't trust
y'all. Give you the Great Pumpkin Halloweentown.
Are you kidding me?
We disagree.
This is so cute. It's squishy.
It's very cute.
Also, we win this for the people, because the people did not.
Those people
do us like they let us down. About. They let us down. What? Even for I thought over the years, again, it would be like a thing where clearly. I'm angry. Halloweentown 2. I wonder if we won't look right now, but I wonder what it has.
Listen, we will.
It feels like this should move as a mouth. He looks like he's literally like.
He's like, I know if he had a little face like a jack-o'-lantern.
That would be so cute.
That would be cute. I'm gonna draw one on.
Yeah, do it.
You're right. I'm like, how could?
Well, I'll do it. Now I get it.
Mm-hmm. Now we're gonna rate
our ratings.
Yeah, guys, scary scale. Obviously, this
scary
is a children's movie.
I wish I could. Okay, list out the ratings. List it out.
From lowest to highest: Alone in the Dark, Nightlight, Cover Your Eyes and Grab a Friend, Under the Covers, and Broad Daylight.
Not broad. Alone in the Dark.
Broad Daylight.
I know. I always get it mixed up, because when I think like it's funny because it's the opposite.
I'm Alone in the Dark.
It's so funny though, because if I was a kid though, for that one part in the theater, I would have to like leave the room or like distract myself or talk to like somebody while it's on. I'm like, I can't, or I'd have to like take myself out of it and be like, remember that you're safe, because they're gonna leave the theater. Like, it's not like it's the whole movie.
He's not gonna get you. But he also like comes out of a screen.
Yeah,
so
out
it's
of nowhere. It felt like a 3D film you're watching.
Is he gonna come out of the TV and attack you?
Exactly. There it is. That's the thing.
Listen,
the guy gets sucked through the freaking portal. He just spins.
Where'd he go? He was part cow because he mooed. He's like, was it a reference to like Twister or something?
Can he stop it? That's so funny. He should have shown up at the end, coming out of like a portal in the sky.
He's like,
I'm here. I'm a mummy. Don't worry about it. Half those people in there were just mummies. They weren't actually under a spell. They were just like mummified.
How long have they been?
They're just like, I'm just a mummy. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'm not under a spell. I'm just chilling. Thought it was a cool theater.
I just wanted to watch a movie once.
I just really wanted to go out for a movie night. That is a freaky. But again, when he goes out in the sunlight, like, he's just not as scary to me. He's got a cool presence like that. He does a good job.
His eyes are interesting.
Yeah, they did a good job with that, like practical effects of that, and the way he moves with like the wispiness. It's like
he's like.
It reminds me of like Wicked on stage when she's like doing her like no good deed goes unpunished. Love it. Anyway, okay.
Overall rating, guys, lowest to highest: Dusty, straight to DVD, airplane movie, stream it, plan your night around it, life changing, and then on top of that, we have our prize, which we dub it on top, which is our Hall of Fame.
Why do I want to give it the Hall of Fame?
I'm giving it the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I love this movie
This movie has changed my life.
Yeah, it's life-changing, but also...
And it's in our Hall of Fame.
It's literally the Hall of Fame. We already know.
6.6?
How dare.
Not this movie.
How dare. And I don't care if we're biased. I don't care if we're bringing our past into it. That's the point.
If I watched this today, I would still love it.
Yeah, it's literally
Maybe
so
I wouldn't put it as life-changing, but it changed my whole life. I was 6 when this came out.
Maybe I wouldn't...
I don't care.
You're like, I don't know if it would impact my life.
I don't know, but
well,
it has.
That's the thing, too, bro. That's what I'm talking about, where it's amazing that this thing that came out at the time, it just...
DComs hit different, okay?
Let's watch a Disney Channel movie.
What's it? Oh, no, I was thinking has the movies, but that's not. That's FX.
Oh, yeah, FX has the movies.
Has the movie.
Man. Could go for a good movie night, which we just had. I'm like, could go for a good movie night.
Right, we just watched this.
We
have to watch, not today, but we have to watch Lord of the Rings.
It's like 2:30 a.m.
We know no other way. The new episode of Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I watched the new one.
Without me?
I thought we were just...
I didn't watch it.
It's not that.
Girl.
It's... I don't know how to feel. Not about that, but about the actual movies.
What? What do you mean?
I mean, not the movies, but the actual
the series itself. I'll watch it then.
Yeah,
I'm having a good time.
To me, I'm glad you're having a great time with it. I don't...
For the first two, but I didn't watch the third one yet.
I think it's a very pretty show.
It is.
I can't tell...
If it has
all of a sudden turns into a review of the... I just wonder... Yeah, I just don't know if I understand... I understand what's going on, but I'm also just kind of like... I mean, I could watch it again. It'd be like watching it the first time, probably. Like watching the third... You're like, without me, I'm like...
Watch 1 and 2? Because you were like, what happened?
We were just like talking to the whole thing. But about it, like you said.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I understood.
Stevie, without me, I'm like, oh, I thought we were doing that. I'm sorry.
I thought that was only the beginning.
I'm so sorry. I won't watch the next one because I don't have to.
Girl.
No, I won't. I'll wait. Because I'm like, I can wait. Don't worry. It might get really good with the fourth one. So let's watch the fourth one together.
I liked it. Yeah. Anyways.
I'm like...
anything Lord of the Rings, I'm here for.
I know. I feel that. And also there is that tie with it. That's always I'm going to watch the whole thing. Of course. You should watch House of Dragon,
I guess I should.
Because I'm enjoying it, even though things get wild. It's
Maybe I'll wait for
Matt
all
Smith,
of it to
my doctor.
Yeah. David Tennant.
Well,
but also I love Matt Smith.
I feel like I'm such an odd
pleasantly
duck.
Surprised
I think
me. A lot of people have him though.
I hope so because I feel like whenever I was in the thick of the fandom, like when he first was the doctor, there was a lot of debate and like Tumblr and everywhere was like such a war zone of like, but they loved him still, but they were always just like, but he was David Tennant.
About to start as a doctor, I think when I started, but I started back at obviously like season 9.
I started with him, and then I went back or whatever. But at first I was like, who's this guy? And so to me, he'll always be like the first introduction for me to the doctor. And I just always just felt like he embodied the doctor to me, which like so
that is so weird because
I know for everyone else.
But I feel that every single one.
But isn't that funny?
Okay, I feel like 9, 10, and 11 all embody the doctor in different aspects of them because 9 is underrated. Yeah, and I feel like he doesn't get as much love as he deserves. But then 10 obviously is like.
Well, I'm still angry that
I paused after... I didn't want to watch the last 2 episodes of David Tennant because I knew I was going to, sob. Yeah. So I waited, 9 months. Then I watched them, and then I was so upset. And then I was like... But then I watched the Matt Smith ones, and I was very...
stories, though. Like, he has such good episodes. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Once I started with him, I was like...
And the relationships are with them. Yeah, it was like it brought a new, fresh...
a childhood wonder, childlike wonder that you needed, especially after the last 2.
Yeah, he really did have a lot of childhood wonder, and just the characters and the loss of innocence, but then also learning. It was just amazing storytelling.
But then you go to Peter Capaldi, which I never finished, and it was like you had this nice I'm not saying anything bad about Peter Capaldi.
No, but I'm still angry.
You had this
he goes
nice,
from that to this
and then it was which I literally had an 11th Doctor quote on my graduation cap. So he, of course, affected me, and I love him.
I can't. We're all stories in the end. No, my thing though is
it wasn't even that.
I know there's a million quotes. That whole thing is literally a perfect for. It's the best monologue. The bad
doesn't outweigh the good.
Yeah. That one.
The good.
I remember for some reason
the bad doesn't make the good unimportant or worth it or what. I'm gonna hold on.
No, it's also. I remember the one that broke me, even though it's out of context, you can't really apply it to other stuff. Remember how she's like, Amy's like, why do you keep returning to Rory and me? And he's like, because you were the first face this face saw, and I'm running to you before you fade from me completely, to you and Rory before you fade from me completely.
Is just heartbreak.
It's like they know,
and you need somebody like the 11th Doctor to get you through that. But the 10th Doctor does have that too. But it's just like, a different way.
But it's funny because it's why Amy's always like, when she goes back, spoilers and all that stuff for Angels in Manhattan. Yeah. But whenever she writes that letter to him that she knows he'll see at the end of the book, and you know how she's like, make sure you're not alone? Because she knows he needs somebody. Like, he's so alone in the universe and he needs a companion. Like, that's the point. I can't. But the thing is that I was so mad, Stevie, you know this, that when I went to the Doctor Who experience in Wales, when I studied abroad, they had just switched the whole set from being for the 11th Doctor to being for... And I'm like, and I couldn't even, when I bought the mug, that they sold mugs there, which you can probably get online, but I got the ones there where you can, like, it has the first quote and the last quote by each Doctor. They hadn't made the new production of Matt Smith, so I just got it with his first quote, and it's still... I'm so devastated. They didn't have the one with his new last quote on it. And the fact that I saw that, it's fine. It was still a great experience. Still great. Wish it had been Matt Smith's, but it was still great. It was Wales.
Yeah, but I would want to.
Cardiff is a cool place, even though I feel like
when they're like, what do we have here? Just
yeah, I feel like Billie Piper was making jokes when she had to live there for Rose. She was like, "What do you do in Cardiff? Nothing."
Nothing. They're always like freezing on set.
I know.
They the behind the scenes, and they were like, "We are frozen." There, also, this is Doctor Who corner now.
I know, right?
But I do want to. Now I have to remember the thing that I had on my cap because I think it wasn't this one, but this one is the one I was talking about, where it was the good things don't always spoil the bad things, but vice versa, the bad things don't always spoil the good things or make them unimportant.
That's what I'm saying. There were
I don't think that's what I put on my cap because that doesn't make sense. But I love that quote.
I know there's so many quotes from it that I literally was like, oh my gosh, there's just it's so good.
I have a picture of it here. I'll find it. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what it said. It said
mine.
Oh, it literally is that we're all stories in the...
See, yeah, make sure you remember the good part of this being... Yeah, just make it a good one. I'm telling you, that's why I wish I could have had it on the mug. I'm so angry. I'm going to order a new one. No, but it won't be the same. I'll draw it on.
It's not
in my heart, it's there. Now
No, yeah, you can definitely order one.
Yeah.
Plus, sometimes I feel like the official ones sometimes are like... Here's a quote slapped on it. You know what I mean? And some Listen, that come out later are very... I'm sad
because it was like it would have had his end quote on it. It's just they hadn't produced it yet because at the time he was still the...
But you couldn't have ordered it later online, or it was just... different time.
Yeah, it was... And also I feel like I was like, but this is the one I got there, and like I didn't check back.
You got the 10th Doctor, I don't even know.
No, so they had Matt Smith's mug, but it was like he had just transitioned and they hadn't made new mugs yet because they only had it with his first quote, which is... I don't know what he says. Something about... when he first pops up and he's like
fish sticks,
fish sticks and custard. But I feel like it's something his first quote, and then there's a blank where it should have it because like if you were there right before it transitioned or during his time, you're like, well, we don't know what his last quote is yet. But at the time I did because it had just aired and Peter Capaldi had now. Listen, it was a time. 2015 was a time in my life. You know what was
really weird? 2015. This I think is the Matrix. This is a Matrix moment because I found out that Peter Capaldi was going to be the Doctor when we were at Boston Comic Con, right? That year. I looked in my notes that day. I looked in my notes at a note that I had made like 3 years earlier in my notes. And it literally, all it said was Peter Capaldi, Doctor Who. That's all it said. And I have no idea. I had written that in my notes. Did you have a
premonition or something?
I don't remember writing that note. It was in my notes in my phone. And it was
3 years before it was
like years before.
How did you
randomly
know
went.
Who Peter Capaldi?
I did not know who he was.
It was a glitch or something in your notes?
No, because it was like in my notes from like years prior.
Maybe it backdated itself.
But I never wrote it down. That's what I'm saying. It was the day I found out, and I was like, anyway, glitch moment.
That's odd to me. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's probably in my notes somewhere. I'll find it. Anyway.
Interesting. Man.
Anyway, guys, thank you for...
Matt Smith, watch House of the Dragon. Stream it.
Yeah, I was like, what are we talking about? Guys, if this podcast is nothing but just nonsense, we sit and talk. We talk about our faves. We talk about our life. And then we do it through the lens of spooky things.
Listen. With our witches hats on. We should just make this a regular thing we wear.
Yeah. Again, our tagline is basically one huge tangent.
One huge tangent. It's fine.
But guys,
make it spooky.
If you would like to
keep it secret, keep it safe.
If you would like to support us, it'd mean a lot if you'd leave a review, give us a 5-star rating, share with a friend. If you want to suggest a movie or a topic for us to cover, an episode of something, you can email at us. Why do I do that every single time?
What?
I always say email at us. Anyway, email us.
At us from under the bed.
Fromunderthebedpodcast@gmail.com. Our website is fromunderthebedpodcast.com. There's also a little contact form on there. Our Insta is fromunderthebed. Our Twitter is FUTB podcast. Our TikTok is From Under the Bed Pod. And also, if you're not watching us on YouTube, we have a visual version of this.
But if you're watching it right now,
hello.
What's up, babes?
Welcome, Dust Bunnies.
Dust Bunnies.
Which, just look up From Under the Bed Podcast and you'll see our faces.
We're there.
We're there looking scared.
Get the visuals.
Yeah.
Do stuff. Let us accompany you.
But thanks for being here, guys. Keep it witchy.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
Keep it safe. But anyway, love you.
Love you. Happy early Halloween.
And remember, magic is simple.
Magic is very simple.
It's letting it.
Start over. Goodbye.
Start over.
Magic is actually very simple. It is wanting something. Wait, hold on.
You know what? Maybe it's not simple. Maybe it's not simple. Maybe it's not. Okay. Magic is really simple.
You do the first half.
All you've got to do is
want something and then let yourself have it.
Guys, please. I'm done for the day.
Guys,
oh,
please.
God,
I can't.
help me.
Bye.
Bye.